Alright, is it working? Hey, there we go. This is gonna be ratchet as fuck. um, trying to. I want to play this game really badly on stream, and it won't capture the window, so I'm gonna try doing like display capture. I'm just gonna have to keep going back and forth because I wanted to listen to this conversation that this guy that watches me had with Alec Gunter. Yeah, I'm gonna see how it works, but I have to do display capture because it's just like a black square. When I capture it, when I capture it on a video, it's just like black. The first time I did it, there was a little bit of it and it was frozen, and then like my OBS. I mean, I could try it again, but I don't want to. I don't want to spend forever fucking around. I need to make sure the sound is okay. I'll turn it down on the video a bit, I think. But yeah, someone who watches me kind of debated Alec Gunter. I'm just kind of interested. I'm doing window capture. Is it supposed to be game capture? I could try that. Okay, hang on. Yeah, there we go. Oh, it's working. It's working. All right, hang on. Okay, transpire back. Yeah, I saw. I guess it kind of makes sense with a lot of the identifying information that was on your channel. But listen, I hope it works out for you. All right, let me just. Jesus fucking Christ, dude. Let me just set this up. It's all a bit of a mess. It's all a bit of a mess. We'll start in a sec. There we go. So I don't need display capture, and in fact, that is not going to be very helpful. Oh, we've got Alex Gunter in the background. Other video? Okay, this can go. I don't need this. Thank you, Trough, by the way. I barely know what I'm doing. I barely know what I'm doing. Is this full screen? It's not. Why is it? Yeah, if I do it like this, I can't do it like this, because if I do it like this, then you won't be able to see like half the fucking game. That's dragging. It's fine. It'll just look like this. Alec Gunter will be talking in the background. You'll get to see me not being very good at driving. So I don't know, like the stream, I guess. Sorry, I'm OCDing. I'm OCDing. Actually, I'll tell you what I could do. I can make it bigger. Won't work. It's a really funny shape. This will do. Let's just do it like this. It looks a bit dumb, but it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. So we'll listen to this Alec Gunter thing. I'll be playing this super woden rally edge game, which I've really been enjoying. I actually like these kind of games a lot. I probably didn't seem like I would. I like driving games. I used to play like GTA San Andreas and stuff, and just like drive around the map and like put my own music on the radio because you can do that on PC. So that used to be a pastime of mine, usually when I was drunk. But yeah, so let's see what this conversation was. This guy Jib called in, thinks he did well overall, and no one's giving him shit so far. So hey, I don't know. Let's see what went on with this. I feel like the shape wrong. Better. Yeah. All right. Let's have a look. Let's have a look.
All right. We have one more conversation, and then I think I'm logging off for the night. But we'll see how we're doing. I already beat half sword.
Hey, Gunter.
Hello. Give me just a second. I already beat half sword, but I want to fuck around it.
Like if they're on last name basis. Hi, Gunter.
While we talk.
Yeah, no worries.
Didn't go apeshit. I mean, he doesn't these days. He is definitely like, whatever's changed. Like, it is for the better ultimately. As much as it's funny to watch a guy lose his shit and like rage quit, for his own like well-being and his own like prowess as a debater, it wasn't good. So listen, I'm gaining some respect for him for sure.
Alrighty, what's going on?
Hey there. Yeah, so I would probably want to talk to you about the gender subject because I'm gender critical on the matter. So I tend to be skeptical on this subject matter as far as like men and women are concerned.
Okay.
Yeah, so for me, like, I refer to a man as an adult human male and a woman as an adult human female.
He's streaming with one viewer. He's doing like video games with his wife. I mean, if there's anything like me, like game streams don't do so well.
Female. The reason I think it's like your sex, age, and species is the same reason why I think.
Oh man, is he doing this again? Come on, bro. I tried to tell him. Okay. Oh, this is paused. Can I run Jib over in my game? No, but that's probably why he's not watching right now, because he's like... Okay, it's fine. I'll just restart. So he's doing this thing where it's like gender is sex, age, and species or something. That's man and woman.
Woman. Me, like, I refer to a man as an adult human male and a woman as an adult human female. The reason I think it's like.
Okay, no, he is saying man and woman. Okay, he has learned. Fucking hell, man. Okay.
Your sex, age, and species is the same reason why I think a boy is not a man or a girl is not a woman, because they haven't reached the age that makes them a man or a woman. So that's usually the.
I think the sound needs fixing. I tell you what though, people shared that video of him chewing his wife out when they were playing Minecraft, but it kind of seems like they settled down. I think they just like that to each other sometimes. I'm worried that I contributed too much to like the Tanya, like white knighting. And listen, as much as people don't like Firebat, he is welcome in this chat. I'm not trying to give him a hard time right now. We'll just have a little bit in the background, because it feels like it's way too loud. The voice of your nightmare is the voice of your dreams. That must have been terrifying waking up to.
Stance I go by, because when it comes to this self-identification, I think that it's actually really regressive, because when people say, oh, I'm a woman or I'm a man, they tend to like say and repeat, say masculine or feminine things like, when growing up I didn't like the same things my brothers liked and therefore I'm a woman, or oh, I didn't like the same things my sister likes, therefore I might be a man. And I think that this is really regressive, because it's making the idea of man and woman as a performance, as something that you imitate rather than it being something that you just are. And that's the same reason why people will say, like, you and I think a lot of other people will hear this argument of, oh, well, I identify as black then, or I identify as a cat. And the reason that like people will make this type of argument is they see it as the same thing. Like if I'm born like a white guy, you know, I'm not going to say, oh, I have a black identity, regardless of how much you might enjoy black culture. And it doesn't matter how much I love cats, I won't say I am a cat, even if I could like imitate what cats act like and how they behave. So I find it to be problematic.
Easy left.
Okay, but women and cats aren't equivalent categories.
Sorry.
Okay, but women and cats aren't equivalent categories.
So he's saying, yeah, it's lagging. Listen, it's lagging. That's why I'm terrible at driving. So he's basically saying, like, well, it's analogous to identifying as a different race or a different species. So women and cats aren't analogous, but is identifying as one or the other analogous, and why? That's what matters.
Well,
Like
the
the way that
equivalents
I
I say
know.
there,
Okay, how do you know when you go out in public? How do you know whether somebody's a woman?
because that they developed
right.
within the female binary,
Easy left. Easy
Relatively
left.
female binary
meaning, you know,
is-
they
This is a bad answer, by the way. You don't know for sure. You make a guess based on what you see. You just kind of, this is what you think someone is, and you might be wrong occasionally. There's nothing wrong with that. It's fine. You don't know someone's sex just looking at them, but you have a very high chance of guessing almost anyone's sex. Let's be real. But like, it shouldn't matter. Well, if you can't identify people for 100% as male and female, therefore the categories of man and women don't matter. I don't think that really makes sense, because it's okay to be wrong about shit, you know? That's just, you know, you are going to be wrong about shit all the time. People see, I don't know, man. Here's an example. One time, years ago, I posted a picture of myself cuddling a guinea pig onto my Instagram. And I was at work, and some guy came over and be like, oh yeah, I saw that video of you, that picture of you cuddling a cat or a dog. And I was like, it's not a cat or a dog, it's a guinea pig. Like, people are just wrong with stuff. You don't know for sure. You expect it, yeah, you expect it based on like visual cues. You just, there's certain things that you think man and woman, you know what I mean? And if you're wrong, you're wrong. It happens occasionally. It doesn't mean that someone, because people get them wrong, they're now objectively a different thing, you know?
have like the
relatively female binary
meaning, you know, they have like the long hair. It's just their genuine appearance looks very different from a man. Like, you'll be able to tell that they have like breasts. Their figure will be very different, like the hair and everything else. It's a culmination of a great many things, like their voice on top of everything else.
Their
Easy
appearance,
left.
right? They have a genuinely feminine,
Easy left.
a generally
Easy
feminine
right.
appearance, right? That's how we can tell.
Easy left.
Yeah, I feel like,
Well, yes.
Yeah.
When it comes to like
sorry, the sound is still like way off. I think Gunter is like too quiet or something. And I think the game is still too loud. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It'll get better. It'll get more fluent.
everything else,
Their appearance, right? They have a genuinely feminine
Yeah, you guess based on the appearance, and like it'll be a mixture of things you know to be true by like biology and, you know, gendered kind of cues. That's the whole point of being transgender, is you're trying to confound expectations. You're still the sex you are, but you're presenting as something else, you know? I don't see a problem with that. Like, you can say it's like dishonest or you're trying to fool people, but is that always a bad thing, you know? Is that always a problem? Like, if I want to fool people into thinking that I'm female, it's like, well, I don't know, man. I think maybe I need to turn the co-driver off, to be honest. Probably quite annoying. But it'll mean I won't know where the fuck I'm going. So this is on all of you for, I don't know what I'm fucking saying. You get what I'm saying about this though, right?
a generally feminine appearance, right? That's how we can tell.
Like, even a feminine appearance that isn't even quite it. It's you just kind of, there's a lot of different cues you base it off. You can still see a masculine woman and see a woman, you know what I mean? Plenty of people might see me and I'm like a feminine dude to them, but I'm still a dude, and they can intuit that just by looking at me. And it's like subjective to an extent as well. But I don't know if Gunter thinks there should be a hard and fast rule, but I guess we'll see. Like, I don't think things have to be like cut and dry. It's a bit like when I talked to him about the bathroom thing. I don't know if it was a misunderstanding or it was a debate tactic or what. But to me, it was like, well, there's kind of people who think there should be no rules, and people who think there should be like one male bathroom, one female bathroom, and everyone follows the rules to a T. And I think both are unrealistic. I think there should be a rule overall, but there's going to be people that make a bit more sense in one or the other, you know? And it might not always be 2 or 1. And there are going to be exceptions that you just kind of work out as you go. Like, someone, it isn't really appropriate for them to use what they should, so they might use the other one. I don't think that's really an issue either. So he's like kind of he wants to get rid of the rules, but is also, I think, maybe quite rigid in a certain way. It always has to have a logic and always has to make sense. But humanity isn't like that. Oh, hi Eli, by the way. Hope you're good. It's been a while.
Well, yes. When it comes to like the way they appear, but when it comes to like the appearance statement, the tricky thing there is that you could meet a male and you could be wrong.
What do you mean the appearance statement? Like, I'm not using code.
Well, what I mean there is,
get ready.
Like that's,
hold on.
3, 2, 1, go!
I'm just speaking facts. Like that's how you tell. Like you said it. Like, whether somebody is male or female, you just use physical characteristics and guess. You just guess. It's an educated guess based on appearance, right?
He's more or less correct. Yeah.
Like
yes, but the
99%
thing
of the
there
time.
is we could. Yes, but there are cases where you could be wrong. Here's an example, right? And
What do you
it's
mean
like
wrong?
an anecdotal.
What's the consequence of being quote unquote wrong? What's the consequence?
No, I'll give you an example, right? Here's my example. So I'll try to make it short because it's like a little story. But like when I was in middle school, right? Because boys don't like develop more masculine characteristics.
It being short means that this will only take about 10 minutes.
Until they get older.
I mean, he asked what the consequence of being wrong is. There kind of isn't. Well, there shouldn't be. It shouldn't matter. You might get someone's sex wrong. You might get someone's gender right. It shouldn't matter, generally.
For some cases, anyway. I had a friend who I thought was a girl for at least, like a good week. They sounded like a girl. They looked like a girl, so I just assumed they were a girl. And I would hang out with them all the time, just, casual, chilling, and everything else.
Okay.
And one day when I was hanging out with them, they had said, "Hey, Jib, I'm a boy, right?" And in my head, I'm like, "Oh shit! I thought this was a chick the whole time." So there are cases where you could be mistaken about what the other person's gender is.
Okay.
So what I mean by that is, a male could look very feminine and I could be mistaken in thinking that they're a woman, or a woman could be very butch and I could be mistaken and assume that she's a man. But that doesn't make me being wrong accurate, basically.
But your friend is the one who pointed out to you that he was a boy, and you believed him. You just took him at his word, right?
Yes, because I didn't have a reason to assume he was lying.
That doesn't mean that every time someone tells you what their sex or gender is, that's how you know. Someone telling you might help if you're not sure. And if you're wrong, someone telling you will, correct you or whatever.
But no, you had plenty of reason to assume, because you...
What if he's lying? That's the thing.
You had already assumed that he was a girl before, right? You made an incorrect guess, and then he corrected you, and you took that correction, right? Like you said, "Okay, yeah, got it. You're a boy. You're a guy, right?" Or did you check his junk?
Right.
Did you run a karyotype on him? I mean, it's possible if you demanded that.
Well, no, I didn't go that far, of course. But
okay, well then,
when
Yeah, I promise, it's really, really fucking laggy. It's really fucking laggy doing it like this. That's why I'm so bad at this. I was doing well. I was doing well when no one was watching. Hi, Rhiannon, by the way. So getting a bit snippy here.
It's because usually nowadays when it comes to this word of man or woman, a lot of the time it's this assuming of how we behave and how we carry ourselves. But I think that's problematic for one big reason, right? I think that doesn't let men be feminine if they want to, and it doesn't really let women be masculine if they want to, because if a girl or a boy growing up decides to act outside of their sex, their gender, right, then depending on like their friend groups, they might be led to believe that, oh, well, we think that you're like a woman, like a trans woman, or oh, we think that you're a trans man, rather than assuming, well, maybe you're just gender nonconforming. So it sort of the big issue I have with this like belief system is it really doesn't let people express themselves in a proper way. It just sort of redefines like what a man is or what a woman is
I'm not sure what that means. Not sure what he's trying to say here.
under a different umbrella.
I have never heard of a trans person, like, or a cis person, like I've never heard of a cis person complaining that, like, trans activists or trans people or whatever are insisting that they're not the gender that they say they are. Like, I've never heard of this mythical...
Hold up, I've heard of this. I've heard of, like, gender non-conforming guys complaining about, like, egg culture and being told, like, you know, oh, well, you must be an egg or something. And it's like, no, I'm a feminine guy. I've definitely heard of this happening. It's not, like, a common problem. It's not, like, something that we should change the world over, but it's definitely a thing. I'm not surprised maybe that Alec hasn't heard of it, but it is a thing. Like, if I don't know what he knows about, like, egg culture and shit like that. Like, the whole idea of, like, trying to crack people's eggs, it's certainly a thing.
problem of, like...
Cumble on heretics, fuck me, dude.
The boy who looks like you just told me a story of, like, a boy who looks like a girl but identifies as a boy, right? And you said...
Yes.
You accepted when he said, I'm actually a guy. You just accepted it, right?
Well, yes, but
Okay,
that was
well, then
because
it
I was
sounds to me-
mistaken.
The thing is, though, what if you think someone's a guy and they say, oh no, I'm a female, but you just, like, don't believe them? Grief Foundation will talk to you. Fuck me, dude. I would listen. You'd have to pay me a large amount of money to get me to watch that. Fucking hell. Yeah, like, it's a bit different. If someone tells you I'm actually the other sex, it depends on how you look or whether you... It depends on whether you can see that. If it's, like, clearly a dude and he's like, no, I'm a woman, you might just not believe them, you know? I hate so much not being able to be a real woman. Sometimes wonder I want to be a woman more than being a man. Maybe I want to be a man more than a fake woman. Hey, I'm not sure. For me, honestly, I felt like transitioning only got me so far, and I don't think that I can't convince myself that I'm a woman, which is why I don't really call myself one anymore. Like, what matters really is, like, if you're happy. If you're able to present yourself and live your life in a way that makes you happy, and if, like, people broadly accept you, I think that's what matters. Like, I honestly am at a point where I try not to sweat, like, the labels, and I really don't care so much whether someone considers me, like, a man or a woman or something in between or whatever, you know? But that's me. I don't know. I've been trans for a really long time, so yeah, that's me.
Like, there's no problem here. I mean, most people do that, and especially trans-positive people do that. They're more than accepting of women with beards and men with, you know, shaved legs. Like, that, what do you think? Like, do you really think, right, that, like, a trans-positive person would insist that a cis boy is not actually a cis boy just because they look and present like most women would?
Is it just me, or does it sound like they're having two different conversations so far? I feel like Jib's answers aren't always to the questions Alec is asking. And I feel like Alec's responses to Jib are often kind of inserting a lot of stuff that he never said. I don't know. I think Alec seems like he's in debate mode. Maybe a little more than he should be, maybe. He always felt like a fake man. I was the same. Like, that's the thing about, like... That's why I'm down with, like, reducing gender roles and stuff. Because if you're made to feel like in society you have to be this and that to be a man, it's like, well, people like you or me who are like just not those things, you're going to feel that way.
Do you really think a trans-positive person would do that?
it's not so much that the trans positive person wouldn't do that, but I could see from, say, like a deep conservative aspect, like a conservative might see, say, a boy who's a little bit more feminine or gender non-conforming, and then they might use that as a rhetoric and say, oh, well, you're not acting in XYZ manner, so we don't recognize you as a man.
I'll be honest, Alec's question, it's kind of like, do you really think a trans positive person? I don't put anything past anyone. There's a lot more like systems of beliefs than just like right versus left and like trans positive versus turf. You know what I mean? I don't put anyone past anything past anyone. See, listen, I have to keep pausing and then it's like I crash because I forget where I am. I'm just, it's not excuses. It's just, I'm really not doing well.
And or the like what you claim to be, and I think that this is like problematic when we look at it as how people present rather than how they're born. And I'll expand a little bit more on that, because what I mean is, for me, well, what I mean by how they're born is like, were they born male or were they born female, and we go from there.
Why is that so important to you?
Well, it's important because it's important to me because it distinguishes the two sexes, you know, and it makes it easier. Like if you're trying to romance someone, you don't want to say accidentally hit up a guy just because you.
What am I playing? Super Woden Rally Edge. Very poorly. What are we saying here? What are we saying here? Why does it matter to you that you're able to categorize men and women? Like, for the most part, it doesn't really. There's specific instances where you might want to know which sex someone is, and those are actually quite few and far between in society. I think Jib is maybe falling into a bit of a trap and doesn't really need to justify himself here. Like, for the most part, it doesn't matter. It's just that you make assumptions, you see what you see. Early transitioning, you said they said you'll be accepted, you'll be seen as a woman, you'll be 95% of a real woman. I still feel 95% and the world's got more harsh. I'm sorry to hear that. Is that like, when you say they, is that like other trans people or whoever's dealing with like your transition? Like, the truth is, it depends how good you look and how much you come across like the other sex, and that's different for everyone. If you make enough effort, you might find that you get seen as a woman often enough. You can rant in my chat if you want. I don't mind, as long as it's not like slurs or anything, because I might get in trouble for that. I don't mind people ranting though. I don't know. Like, I mean, I went through all that. I was able to, like, I wasn't misgendered much like in my later 20s. I think when I was alone a lot more, like because of lockdown, that kind of got me questioning a lot more stuff. And I was having to like wear a lot of makeup and stuff like that, and having to try a lot harder than other women. It still didn't. I don't know. I ended up just feeling like neither in a way. Doctors and influencers. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you're American. Obviously, doctors have an incentive to say this or that because, they're taking your money. And like influencers, like I don't know. There's not many influencers I listen to, honestly. Like with transition, I think you get out what you put in. And you have to know that it's right for you. You have to know that whatever happens, you're just going to be happier living as like something that is closer to a woman than a man in a lot of ways than any other way. Like, ultimately, it's just what you're going to be doing regardless, I guess. And you might find that, like, even if you don't feel so much like a woman, you might still get to a place where you're just happier being that than you were trying to live your life as like just a normal dude or whatever. It's a bit hard to explain, but I'll keep thinking about it, I guess. Everyone has something they wish they could change. Well, yeah, that's the thing though. Like, it's not just about your appearance. It's also about where you fit in society and how you're regarded and stuff. And for some people, you just would rather be seen as something else. And I don't know, like, Oh, you're from UK. Okay. You had FFS. Okay. You're not much older than me. Yeah, you get told a lot of stuff. You really have to kind of do it for you, I would say. I don't know. I never was around many other trans people, and I never had much in common with them. How long has it been? Like for me, I've been on hormones for almost 10 years now. And like I've had surgery and stuff, like bottom surgery, like quite a while ago. And I'm still fine with it. I don't really consider myself a woman or anything like that. But I'm still fine with like the changes because I'm always going to be happier if I'm more feminine because I just wish I was born female. And it's not a rational thing. And I couldn't explain why I feel that way or how it feels or whatever to another person. And that makes it hard for people to understand for sure. But like, I think, I don't know, if it was always going to be that way for you, then the hope is you'll find some way of making it work, even if it's not, I'm literally a woman now and I'm able to live my life that way. Because it's not easy for like male people. It's not easy to pass and stuff like that. I hope I'm making sense. It's like late and I'm I'm trying to multitask, which I'm not super good at, if I'm honest.
Two sexes, you know, and it makes it easier. Like if you're trying to romance someone, you don't want to say accidentally hit up a guy just because you thought it was a woman, or you wouldn't want to hit up a man if you
Almost there.
assumed it, or you wouldn't want to hit up someone you thought was male if they were actually female, is what I mean. Maybe I'll explain it a little bit more like this, right?
But
That's not a great example, because I think, I don't know, usually it doesn't matter. It depends how rigid you are in your sexuality. And usually if you chat someone up and they're the wrong kind of person, the hope is you'll realise, okay, never mind. So it's not an amazing example. Like, it matters in certain areas. I certainly hold fast to the idea that sports should be sex segregated. In general, certain spaces like prisons, like rape centers, and like in general, even bathrooms. But there's gonna be exceptions. And like bathrooms to me isn't as strict as other spaces. So yeah, I think he's answering something he doesn't really need to answer, to be honest. Generally, it doesn't matter. You're just gonna get the odd person that fools you in a certain way, and that's not the end of the world.
you don't
For me,
know
it
what that
sounds-
person is packing. Like, you don't have the right to know that until they reveal it to you. Period. Right?
I mean, that's a bit of a funny answer considering you mentioned dating. Like, you arguably do have the right to know what's in someone's pants if you're going to have sex with them before you're like literally in the act. I think that can be classed as like rape by deception. You look at the, what is that person's name? Kira something? I can't remember. They were done for like, you know, sexual assault by deception. I think there are certain times where you probably do need to know what someone has. And he brought up dating, so used to self-medicate for years. Okay, wow. Yeah, I started in 2015, and like I went on the NHS pathway, but I got in there right before the waiting list started getting crazy. It was only like about 10 months between my Kira Watkin, thank you. Yeah, it was only about 10 months between my referral and then seeing someone. So yeah, I don't know. Don't super agree with Alec's response either. It's rather a bizarre conversation so far, I gotta say.
Like,
Well, I mean, they
let's
can
just-
keep that hidden if they like, but I do think that creates a little bit more ambiguity and a little bit more
Most
confusion
couples-
overall.
Most couples do not have a discussion about what their genitalia look like prior to sex. Some might, you know, like,
What for like I mean, it's very, very rare that you take someone home and they've got the other set of genitals. So no, people don't make sure that they've got matching genitals. I don't know. What is going on here, man? This is a strange conversation. I'm not really gelling with either of them so far. It's always funny. It's always funny when it's like two non-trans people trying to make sense of like this kind of thing, where they're on two different sides. I don't know, man.
I'm sure most trans people that I know of have revealed to their partners that they are in fact trans before
Get
they engage in
ready.
any kind of sexual
3,
activity. Just so you
2,
know. But do I think they're obligated to do that? No, I don't. Because your genitalia could look like anything. You could be intersex and have some kind of mix. You could have a micro penis.
Like, come on, man. I don't think... This is so rare. It is true. It is completely true that most trans people just be open and honest from the off. And I think that's the best idea. Like, I met my partner on the internet, like, almost 10 years ago now, the first time I messaged her. And we got together just over 9 years ago. And, like, the fact that I was trans was the first thing in my bio, because I just want people to know straight away. It's just the best way. It's safer for you that they know who they're dealing with. You know, they're not going to have some nasty surprise. And, you know, like, I don't date guys, I date women. But, like, you date a guy, there is the chance he'll be funny about it because he might be funny about his sexuality. That kind of is a thing, unfortunately. But this is such a rare thing. And then we talk about, like, kind of, like, aberrant genitalia and stuff. Like, this is so rare. And I would have thought that maybe some people who have those kind of disorders might want to be upfront because they're worried they might freak someone out. But I'm not sure. I don't have that experience, to be clear. He was arguing about the government not needing to know your sex earlier. Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen him do that before. I think that's quite moronic, to be honest. Like, they need to know your sex and a bunch of other demographics for, like, statistics. If, say, one sex was overwhelmingly sexually assaulting the other sex, the government isn't going to know unless they know what sex people are, you know what I mean? They do have to have records of these kinds of things. And if there's certain, like, discrepancies, if, say, women are massively disadvantaged in this area or that area because of their sex, and you think about, like, the gender pay gap and stuff, that is about sex. It's about things like pregnancy, maternity leave, and so on. We talk about, like, period poverty or something like that. They need to know if a group is disadvantaged, so they might be able to, like, try and help redress that balance, if that's the kind of government you have, you know what I mean? There are quite a lot of reasons why someone might, why the government would need to know people's sex. And, like, abolishing all of that, it's one of those Chesterton's fence things. Like, before you abolish something like that and stop recording anyone's sex, what are you getting rid of? What are you going to lose that you just haven't thought of? Because I just think maybe he hasn't thought about this very much, or spoken to someone who's given him, like, decent examples of why the government probably should know your sex. Am I trans, Tifa? I wasn't the last time I checked. I guess maybe they'll draft me any day now. The chip in my brain from all the injections I had during COVID might activate, but not currently. I'm a proud member of the Jewish faith.
You could have a very large clitoris. Like, you could have a mole down there. You could, like, not
And
have...
also, I mean, you get someone who looks like a woman and you take them home and their vagina's just, like, weird looking, like a large clitoris. That probably isn't going to matter. Anyone that notices that and it bothers them, well, then you're probably not going to fucking get married or whatever, you know?
have anything down there. Who knows? Like, it's not anybody's business until you reveal it. In my opinion.
Well, no, I can understand where you're coming from. I would just say in, like, most cases, we can usually tell whether someone's...
Alec, you're not going to watch this, but if you do, look up people like Kira Watkin, look up Sex by Deception. Like, you have to understand, like, you're playing with people's sexuality to an extent, right? Like, if you think you're fucking a guy, but actually it turns out to be a girl and they've got different genitalia, you might feel like your sexuality has been contravened. Like, if you're a gay man and you think you're having sex with another man and it turns out to be a girl, I know it's, like, super unlikely, but it has happened. There are cases of this happening. That potentially isn't going to sit right with you. Like, I mean, gay people are quite kind of, you know, they're quite protective over that kind of shit. They see certain things as, like, conversion therapy. You know, lesbians will get guys that'll be all, oh, you just haven't found the right guy yet, and still try and hit them up even after they know that they're a lesbian. I think there's a lot of problems here. I think if he learned more about, like, sex by deception, like sexual assault by deception, sorry, and how that pertains to, like, surprise genitals and stuff, I think maybe his take would soften on this. I think this is it's a bit much. Usually it's not any of your business what your genitalia is but we are using the example of dating and potentially having sex with someone. I think that is like one of the few places where it does matter. Is lying about your biological sex great? It can be. It can be. What I would do is look up the case of Kira Watkin. I think someone put it in chat earlier. That person did get done for sexual assault by deception, and to be honest, I think it was the right call. Like, this person was literally saying, "I'm on my period, don't go down there," because they've actually got a penis and stuff like that.
A man or woman, and what I mean by that is man being derived from male, woman being derived from female. In most cases we can tell, but there are cases when somebody is, say, gender nonconforming, or when somebody purposely wants to be ambiguous with their sex, and that could lead to confusion for that individual if they want a romantic relationship. Because if, say, it's like a straight woman, right? If she's like too ambiguous with her appearance and looks too male, there might be cases where men might not hit her up because they're like, well, I assumed you were a guy, I assumed you were a dude. A big issue.
But this is such a non-issue. Like, it's such a, like, what are you talking about?
Well, what I'm talking about is like the ambiguity. I think it's an issue because it makes that person and other person.
Yeah, so the problem, like, Jib is kind of fucking this up. Like, if you want to make a case for this, that is what you're going to be talking about, is like sex by deception. Sexual assault by deception. I'm going to say it wrong every fucking time. You don't think hetero guys don't care about biological sex in their partners? I do. I was using gay as an example. Like, if you're contravening like someone's sexuality, that's an example of why people wouldn't be happy. I use gay as a specific example, but it does count for everyone. If you're quite sort of, I don't want to say proud, but like, if your sexuality is a big part of your identity and someone contravenes that, then it doesn't really matter what your sexuality is. You might feel like, you might feel like you've been wronged if someone contravenes that, for sure. It isn't strictly gay people. And yeah, like, in general, it's not a big deal, but Alec's take is a bit crazy, I would say. And Jib is not making a very good argument, unfortunately.
Other people's relationships with that individual more complicated if they don't know outright. And I think it's also an issue.
Relationships are already complicated. What's a little bit more complication on top of it?
Well, we would want less complication, though, wouldn't we? Like, if we're trying to be in a really... Yes.
There's complications in every relationship. I'm not saying that's good, but
I mean,
every relationship...
Like, we're not really, like, the individual is potentially not going to be so happy with this, I would say.
It has its issues. And sometimes those, I mean, like, like, again, I stress, you don't know what that person looks like down there until they reveal it to you, period. Like, there are various forms of, like, genitalia. They're circumcised and uncircumcised. There's some people have very large flaps, like it could all be all kinds of things on there. You could have a big old mole with hair on it. Like, but that's nobody's business until you reveal that to them, period.
Well, I think another big issue I tend to have with this, I don't know, I would say a belief system, I suppose, is that it reminds me a little too much of like theism. So for me, me being like a hard atheist and an anti-theist, when I hear about this gender identity as something that people can identify into without there being like a hard science behind it, like we can't test or verify if we just assume they're telling the truth, it sounds too much like the concept of a soul when people just like describe...
Yeah, Heidi, that's a good thought, to be honest. Like, so what would Alec say? So, you don't know what's in someone's pants or whatever. But if they reveal it, and then you withdraw your consent and you say, well, I don't want to have sex with you anymore, surely he wouldn't say, well, no, you can't do that, that's transphobic. Surely he would say, okay, sure. So then potentially it does matter, and it's more to the individual. Where in public, things get worse for trans people. Like, Steve, the average opinion will be, we're all a threat to women, blah, blah, blah. I don't think it's ever going to be like that. I think there's always going to be people with strong opinions either way. I don't listen. I don't know how much you've seen of what I put out there. I'm not a big fan of Steve. I have some broad agreements with him, but I think he is kind of emboldening. He is probably emboldening some people who are just like transphobic and will see someone and, you know, treat them badly because they're trans. And he does it himself to an extent. I think there's always going to be a lot of support. And the other thing with someone like Steve is, if it's too like gratuitous, if there's too much like just nastiness everywhere, it is going to make other people more defensive of trans people. So people like Steve, honestly, they're a double-edged sword. And honestly, I think that the gender critical movement is actually in danger of pushing people back towards more trans affirming. I think that they're pushing too far in certain directions, like all these protests against like the puberty blockers trial. I don't really see the point. I think it's going ahead and I think it's fine, basically. I'd rather they just didn't transition kids if I had to come down off the fence, but you know, it's beginning to look quite hardline in some aspects. And some of the people showing up to these like rallies and stuff are really quite sordid individuals when you look into them. But I mean, that's just how it's going to be. I don't know. If you push too far in one direction, people start swinging back, I think. That guy on the line. I don't know who you mean. I try not to watch The Line because I fucking hate The Line, to be honest. I think in a just world, no one would ever call into The Line and they would just cancel their fucking show. But hey.
Describe a soul. It's just something we have to believe that exists or that they have.
Hold up, so it, what, gendered souls now? Steve's a weird little prick, don't let him worry. That is true, that is true. And I will say, listen, if you just walk past him, he might stare at you and you might get referred to as a feminized man or something on his camera, but that's as far as it goes. Honestly, unless you kind of learn a lot about Steve and like find some ways to like fuck with him, the best way with those people is just ignore them. And they really can't do very much.
Hard science behind it, like we can't test or verify if we just assume they're telling the truth. It sounds too much like the concept of a soul. When people describe a soul, it's just something we have to believe that exists or that they have. So being like an anti-theist and being like more of a materialist, it already sort of rubs me the wrong way in that regard.
Okay, you can feel that way, but I don't understand how... Like, I don't understand how it's the same as religion. Because all people are doing is saying, you know, this is a social construct that we all abide by, and I choose this category. You know? Because I think that...
It's not the,
But, like, what...
Isn't he very broadly describing religion in a way? Guilt by association, like KJK and the Nazis. I mean... The thing is, like, it's optically a bit terrible having Nazis tagging along. And I think if it's just occasionally, like it had been, it's fine. But it might get worse. It might start actually looking fucking terrible. If it carries on. I mean, you know... You've got like a women's march in London about like the Supreme Court and wanting like new guidance on women's spaces. And then there's a guy mingling with the crowd, interviewing people who have no idea who he is. And this guy was at the fucking Sarah Everard vigil, helping a bunch of anti-lockdowners like rile up the crowd and like get the police involved and bait them and stuff. Because they have this kind of anti-police thing they're trying to do. Like, it's all a bit... Like, if it carries on and these people keep filling up the movement, the other thing is, these people might end up subverting these kind of things, just like they subverted the Sarah Everard vigil. It's the same guy, like that Willsey guy. It's the same fucking guy.
Okay, just answer me why it's so important to uphold the gender norms based upon which genitalia you have at birth. I don't get it.
Well, I don't think we should uphold gender norms.
Okay.
I think I think most people are actually gender non-conforming, like, and here's what I mean, right? We live such long lives. It's hard for me to imagine that men won't participate in some feminine things and women won't participate in some masculine things. And I think that's the case of the matter.
Who's there?
But for me, it's because I care about like accuracy. Like I don't want to be confused. I don't want there to be like ambiguity.
Accuracy regarding what specifically?
Well, if somebody says they're a man and if they're born female, they're not a man because they weren't born male. They didn't go through the male puberty. They aren't what they claim to be because they're assuming a man is.
They tell me they're a man. What's to say they're not a man?
Well, that's the thing right there, right? Because you're saying.
Yeah, the crux is like, well, there are certain reasons as to why you would still categorize people based on their sex. That doesn't mean if you've got a friend who's a trans man and you just see him as a man and you have no real reason, you don't interface with him in any way where his sex matters, then again, that's fine. It really doesn't matter. Like, at that point, you really are talking about, well, there are reasons, there are certain spaces that probably should be sex segregated. There, you know, things like sports should still be sex segregated because males are just, you know, they just have, on average, much higher peak physical performance than females. And, like, people are going on about this new study or this new meta-study that proves that, like, trans women are on the same level. When you actually read it, it really fucking doesn't, man. Like, I think out of the 52 studies that they used, and it was only 43 that were actually included in the meta-analysis, so it gets smaller and smaller. And then about 16 of them actually measured any kind of, like, physical performance. And then it wasn't even like sport specific. It wasn't about athletic performance. It was about strength and like aerobic performance and stuff, which is stuff that you can generalize to an extent based on like sport and stuff, but there's more to it than that, you know? So yeah, like it matters in some instances. In lots of ways it doesn't. I don't know. I'm very worried that we're never actually going to get to the heart of anything and it's just going to be two people talking past each other.
Saying like they act like a man and they talk like a man. I don't believe there is a thing as acting like a man or talking like a man. I think you can act and talk masculine, but to act and talk masculine isn't the same thing as being a man.
Well, then you must not be a man, because I am. Okay, and I mean maybe you're not a man. You could be non-binary or a woman. I don't know. But like the point is, you must not be a man, because I can tell you for a fact there is a way to, you know, act like a man.
But like that right there though, isn't that like regressive? Because
is he like trolling? I don't get this. I'm going to assume this is a joke.
the thing like to be a man, you need to be a certain way. I don't think we should be doing that. That sounds. It almost sounds like a reworking of conservatism, or a form of like conservatism. Because when you think of like deep conservatives, what do they say? They say, "Oh, well, you're not a man unless you act like it. You're not a woman unless you act like it." So what that does is that boxes both men and women into certain ways, and I don't think that's good.
But you're the one boxing people based upon their genitalia or whatever the fuck. Like, why do that? Just if they want, like, why say that just because you're born with a vagina, you can't dress, act, and talk like a man and identify as such? Why not? What's the problem?
You can identify as anything you want. You just can't really force anyone else to accept that identification. And if you're not even dressing and acting like a man, and if nothing about you says man, and you're telling other people, I'm a man, they're in no way obligated to believe you or take you seriously, you know? Should males with complete androgen sensitivity syndrome count as males for the purpose of law, sports, sex segregated spaces? Jeez, I'm sorry, it's late. I don't know. I have to think about that more. I have to think about that more. I need to brush up on some of the intersex stuff. It's been a while. I think I don't know. What was CAIS again? I can't remember exactly. I mean, if they're born male, it depends how they develop, like as to whether, you know, medically they're better off being treated as male or female. I mean, the thing is, if people have, like, disorders, they might need to be treated specially rather than strictly as a man or a woman. And again, there's not, like, a problem with that. There's not a problem with people that are, like, out of the norm when it comes to, like, sex development being treated more case by case. It prevents masculinization. So they'd get, like, internal like stuff. Android says they're female because they never developed along a male path. Yeah, potentially. Like if they are supposed to have been male based on genetics, but they don't develop because of a problem, then yeah, maybe. So typically become testicles. Oh. Okay. Yeah, maybe treating these people as women is better. Maybe. I'm open-minded to that for sure.
Well, no, I see the confusion.
Like, I'm not here to say that everything should be treated as strict binary. You're XY, you're a man. You're XX, you're a woman. I think it is more complicated than that for sure.
And I think I see the confusion here. I'm not saying that females can't act masculine or enjoy masculinity. Same thing with men. Like, a man can enjoy femininity if he likes. There's no issue with that. But it's the fact that they're making the error of saying, because I act and behave a way, therefore I am this thing. And that sort of circles back to when people say, well, if I act black, am I therefore black? Or if I act like a cat, am I now a cat? It sort of comes...
I think this is really easy, honestly. You might present a certain way, you might look a certain way. Your doctor probably still needs to know what sex you are. You know, if you're gonna go to prison, it probably still matters what sex you are. You know, things like that.
In that same type of conversation, basically.
But that's how gender kind of works, though. Like, that, it's not comparable to species or race. It's not the same as those things. It's a different category and type.
Well, like, why not? I need a satisfying answer from someone like this on why then you can't just identify, like, species is a bit ridiculous. We can leave species to one side. I can go around saying I identify as a mule deer. It really doesn't mean anything. Like, if someone actually, like, was white but grew up around, like, black people and shit, and talked a certain way and liked certain things, identified as black because of it. Why is that so different from identifying as a different sex to the one you are? Or as a different gender or whatever?
Entirely. So yeah, you kind of can just identify into a certain gender by acting and presenting as such. People have done it throughout history. They do it all the time. They walk around and they may have been born with a vagina, but lo and behold, they are bald and they have a beard and they dress with a suit on with a tie and they have a slightly deeper voice and they look and sound like and act like a man.
I mean, as long as he'd grant that all this is like artificial and stuff you do to present as something else, and that really it's just about social acceptance or whatever, then I guess this is all fine.
Man. It's happened. It does happen all the time. Well, they are men. Like, by all metrics, they're men. Why? What metric?
But again, like, yeah, maybe your doctor should still know that you're female and that you're, like, transgender or whatever, and you're on whatever medication. Like, there's certain reasons as to why you'd still need to know this, right?
Are they not men? I ask you.
Well, I'll say it like this. It's because from, like, my framework, I'm more of a gender abolitionist.
Well, DSD means differences of sexual development. It's another way of saying intersex, but it's a bit of a better term for it, because intersex really should more mean like hermaphroditic kind of things, you know, chimerism and stuff.
So,
as am I.
When I say the word gender abolitionist...
But almost everyone with a DSD can't have kids, as far as I know. I think it's very rare you get someone that can.
When I say gender abolitionism, what I mean by it is, I think we should reduce the effects like gender has on society. I think the less that we say, hey, to be a man is to do these things, to be a woman is to do these things, the more women and men will be able to express themselves freely.
But for as long as these categories exist, does it not just make sense to let people identify the way that they want? Wait, was that my guy? I think I just killed my guy. Oh well.
Well, they can identify how they like, but the issue comes in then is whether other...
And he's talking about something different. Like, just saying identify as what you want is a bit different from being female and like taking all testosterone, like very much changing your body in order to more resemble a man and identifying as a man. When we just say, doesn't it just make sense to identify as whatever? Well, not always, no. If he starts identifying as a woman tomorrow and changes nothing, no, it doesn't really make sense for you to identify as a woman. You can still do so. You're free to do it in fucking America or whatever. But it doesn't really make any sense, and you're not going to be treated as if it makes any sense, and you shouldn't expect to be. Like, in absolutely no way should we expect people to just go along with it, whatever anyone says that they are. It's going to depend. Like, someone like me, I guess I have a chance. I've been on hormones a long time. I present a certain way. I look like shit today. I haven't put any makeup on. I can't remember when I washed my hair. It at least makes some sense, though, you know what I mean? I don't have a penis and stuff like that. But that's a bit different to just saying, doesn't it just make sense for anyone to identify as anything? Like, no, not really, no.
Other people should refer to them based on...
And the thing is, if someone does, the problem is, when you don't agree with someone's self-identification, it's treated as like a hate crime and stuff. I don't know if he holds that position, really. But that's also a problem. We tried to push it in society where, like, that kind of thing, like disagreeing with someone's self-identification, when it comes to gender, is like some kind of hate crime and should never be done. I don't think that should be the case. I think if someone wants to think that I'm not a woman because I was born male, then, you know, whatever, they can do so. I don't super care what people label me as anymore.
Off of their, based off of what they call themselves.
Same as acting rich, even if you're not. You'll convince some people you may feel rich, but you're not. Yeah, I think I know what you mean. Yeah.
So like a man can refer to himself as a woman if he likes. A woman can refer to herself as a male as she likes. But the issue when it comes to the TRA side, when on this topic, is it's not just about how they refer to themselves. They want society to fall in line and refer to them how they want to be referred, even if that's not how others like view them or believe.
Everybody does. I've done that. What do you mean? People call me Alex. They think my name's Alex. I correct them. I say my name's Alec. Nobody has ever responded, oh, but it's easier to call you Alex, so I'm going to do that instead.
2, 1, go!
Right.
Again, this is very different. Like, it is just easier. If this person... It's one thing to say, no, it's not Alex, it's Alec. And most people will just correct themselves and move on. So that's like your name as well. It's your name. You know, if you're going around calling this guy Alex and you're at a place where everyone else is calling him Alec, more than anything, it's going to get fucking confusing. Oh, you see that guy Alex over there? Who the fuck are you talking about? That ain't Alex, you know? But it's not the same as this guy saying, no, I'm actually a woman, because, like, your name could be anything, but you just ain't a fucking woman. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, but when it comes to that, that's more of a...
It's common courtesy. Just refer to people the way they want to be referred to. What's the problem?
Well, I don't know if it's a courtesy issue. It's more demanding. It's more of a... How do I want to phrase it? It's like saying...
Again, you go back to... So, like... If I want to be regarded by people as a mule deer, even though it's not what I am, and I see it as a common courtesy for people to act like they see, like, big antlers coming out and, like, massive, big, fucking beautiful ears and stuff. Like, I can think that's a common courtesy, but I don't think it's realistic, honestly. It really depends.
It's almost like forcing others based off of like their own morality. It's like saying, oh, you're not referring to me as my man. What I mean is like this, right? It's like saying, oh, you're not referring to me by my male identity. I feel like oppressed. I feel this. I feel that. But other people aren't obligated to refer to you.
It's just fucking annoying.
By what you aren't.
It's annoying. Like, they just want you. Like, if somebody referred to me as a woman, I'd be kind of annoyed. I'd be like, I don't look like a woman. I'm not trying to present as a woman. I'm a man. Okay? Like, I think that's reasonable.
Yeah, he's not quite grasping it, I think. Imagine you insisted you wanted to be called a woman, though. Surely you wouldn't still think that it's common courtesy to call you a woman. Like, maybe this sounds a bit silly or whatever. And this is why I call someone like Firebat, for example, a he. Like, more than anything, I just feel like a right fucking idiot calling someone that's obviously not female a she, you know? Like, I have my limits. There are plenty of passing trans women that I'll call a she because it's just what I see and it's more natural. If, like, literally that's just, like, obviously a dude, then I'm sorry, man. I feel really stupid. And it is gonna confuse me because you just don't look or sound right or anything. Like, humans are, in fact, sexually dimorphic. So you can say it's a common courtesy. Like, I mean, that's even that is, like, subjective and very cultural, you know? So I don't know, man. Why is it a big deal? I mean, like, well, why does it matter so much that people address you the way you want to be addressed in the first place? Why does it matter so much the sounds that come out of people's faces? You know, we can deconstruct shit till the cows come home.
It's fucking annoying. It's rude.
Well, I mean,
okay, I corrected you already. I'm a fucking man. I have a fucking beard and I'm...
Like, that's easy to say when you already are a man. Now do it in the other direction. Be the non-passing trans person. And think about what it's like for everyone else that sees something different to what they're now being told they have to refer to you as. Like, they might just not want to do that. And I don't know, man. I have the kind of transsexual view where it's like, well, if I want people to call me a she, then I'm gonna resemble someone that you'd call a she. And then if people don't see me as one, it's because I didn't put enough effort in. I'm doing something wrong. You know?
I'm bald and my name is Alec. That's a masculine name. What's the disconnect here? I'm a man. Like, why do you not respect my assertion of that? I would feel disrespected, wouldn't you? As a man, I assume.
Well, here's how. No, that's a fair question, and I've been asked this question before because I've been asked, like, hey, you know, well, what if I refer to you as like a she and her and a girl? I'll tell them, like, well, you can, but that would just make the other person look a little silly.
Okay.
Like, I already know I'm a male.
I mean,
it's off of my own, like, framework.
My masculinity is important to me. It may not be to you, but it is to me. So, like, if somebody referred to me as a woman, I'd be annoyed by that and correct them. And I think that's reasonable, don't you?
I mean, it'd be understandable that you would be.
Yeah. Listen, Alec, again, you're not watching, but in case you do, what you need to do is sell people on the idea that you could identify as a woman and insist on being a she, her, but you look exactly the same. You need to be able to sell people on why that is necessary and why that is a common courtesy. It's not the same to just say, well, if you call me a woman when I'm obviously not a woman, then that's rude. That's not really the same. You're not really quite grasping what you need to grasp here. That's what I would say.
Be annoyed because you are a man, you're an adult human male, so that you're making.
Well, and it'd be reasonable.
Yeah, but at the same time,
they how do you know that? How do you know I'm not trans? You don't know that.
I'm assuming based off of like my conversating with you.
How could you possibly assume that?
I mean, yes, I could.
What do you mean? Oh, so it wasn't based off of like my genetics or like my genitalia or anything like that. It was just my presentation and my voice, right? You just assumed.
No, it is partly your genetics, man. It is partly your genetics. Your genetics could present you as someone far more feminine, and then people might see you differently. Your genetics and your presentation like come together. When you see someone and gender someone, it's because of a mixture of like their genetics and the way they present themselves. Like, if your genetics are such that you will never resemble a woman no matter what you do, then you're going to get gendered very differently to someone who presents in exactly the same basic way, but genetically they just kind of resemble a female a bit more than the average man, you know? I think trying to cut genetics out of the picture does not work at all.
Well, it's because even outside of looking at genitalia, like, males develop differently than women, you know. Men typically are like taller, broader, you know. There's secondary ways we can like look at them, but if we do really want to know whether someone's a male or if they're just, say, mimicking very well, like, you could look at the genitals. It's excessive, so we don't typically need to do that.
Why not? This is so important, right? Important enough for you to call in about.
Well, yes, it's important for like accuracy. Yes.
Okay, so then how do we tell? How do you know that I'm not female? What tipped you off?
Well, just many things like your voice, the way you
Yes, how do we know this person isn't female? Maybe this stuff is like being mixed race if they want to see. Yeah, I don't know. Listen. Don't worry about it too much. We are ultimately listening to people that spend way too much time like pontificating on the internet. And I guess I can't talk. I'm the same.
look, you don't appear as like a female. Yes, well, that's because like males, again, like...
Yeah, it's just fucking very obvious you have like male genetics. I'm sorry. If you stood up, you wouldn't have like the wide hips you'd expect to see on like a female person, which does give quite a few trans men away, to be honest. It just is fucking obvious. Like, if there was 100 people that looked like this, 99+% of them would be males. You might get one that's actually female and just was very genetically fortunate in that way that they already resembled a guy quite a lot. And again, that is about genetics. That person, you know, they look like that because of their genetics. So you are, you're seeing phenotype, aren't you? You're seeing the expression of genetics. That's why you look the way you do. And because you're male, you've got the characteristics that you'd expect, like the lower voice and the beard and the male pattern baldness and stuff.
They develop differently than females, usually.
Are you familiar with Buck Angel?
Oh, yes, I know Buck Angel.
Okay, do you think Buck Angel appears and sounds and acts like a male?
No.
Oh, yes, Buck Angel passes as a male very well, but they are...
He doesn't act like a man. He sounds... Listen, now that I'm more familiar with, like, the effect of testosterone on the female voice, he doesn't sound very much like a man. If I saw him, I would just assume he was a guy, for sure. And even then, I don't know what his body shape is like. But at the same time, you know, if you ask me, should Buck Angel use the fucking women's toilet? Probably not, no, probably not.
They are a woman, so
question.
It's not
here, let me try it this
how,
way. Let me try it
how
this
well
way.
you pass.
Let me try it this way. Let's say that I'm a random fuck who doesn't know who Buck Angel is, and I see Buck Angel strolling across the street. Do I assume man or woman or other?
You're going to assume Buck Angel is a man because they appear like a man.
And if I were to refer to Buck Angel as a man, do you think you'd correct me?
Almost there.
Well, I think they're leaning more gender critical lately, so they might actually tell you, oh no, I'm actually a woman. From my...
Nah, I think that's cap. I think that's cap. Listen, I know it's annoying when these people like ask all these leading questions to try and lead you down one of their rabbit holes. But you probably would just kind of assume that's a guy. And I don't think he'd say anything if he said, hello, Buck Angel, the man, you know.
Understanding, I think they've been going back on their trans identity
Imagine
topic.
a world where he doesn't correct that person. Imagine that world. Do you think that that is like a bad world to live in?
Again, like, obviously the answer is like, no, it's fine that happens.
It's not necessarily a bad world, but I think it's a world that causes more confusion.
So yes.
So I don't think it's ideal.
Okay. You're subverting.
I don't know what we're saying here. It causes confusion how? Like, yeah, more people are wrong about someone's sex, but like, I don't know, bro.
The question. My question is it a worse world as a result of that? And you seem to say yes, it is.
I think this is where we get to like the utilitarian stuff. So he's one of those like people who call himself a utilitarian. All that matters is whether something's a net good or a net bad to society. But then when it comes to like things like pronouns and like stuff like that, they tend to ignore anything that might be bad or write it off. When it comes to like certain kinds of trans acceptance. And don't forget, we're using an example like Buck Angel. We're using someone that passes super well. Really, it doesn't work. You can't generalize Buck Angel to all trans men. And you can't generalize, I don't know, who's a passing trans woman? Fucking Samantha Lux or some shit. You can't generalize her to all, like, trans women.
Right? 'Cause, like, I don't know, 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 like, I don't Because you said it causes more confusion. That's worse than not having confusion, right?
I suppose you could say that. Yeah, if it's causing more confusion, it's probably not ideal.
Technically, he's right, but this is a really worthless framing, and it's a really worthless way of looking at it, I would say. Like, is calling some people a he and not a she a net positive or negative? It's pretty worthless to even talk about, I think.
Okay, I just don't agree. Like, what confusion's being caused here? What's the confusion?
Well, the confusion would be that they're not what they're claiming to be. In the same way I'm not black or a cat.
But by what metric is he not what he's claiming to be? He looks like a man, he acts like a man, he talks like a man, he responds to sir. He likes being called he, him, he has a beard, he's bald. He's muscular as fuck. Like, he's a guy. Like, what's the confusion here?
Well, I'll say it like this. Usually when this is brought up, I'll usually bring up like stick bugs. You know, a stick bug can imitate and look just like a stick, but that doesn't make it a stick. Just because you can imitate.
I'm gonna be quite honest. I'm cringing at both of them at this point. Like, what are we talking about, man? What are we talking? This is what I meant. I think that we're just gonna have a lot of like people talking past each other and really never getting to a crux of anything. Like, he is kind of right that none of what we're talking about really matters. But I think he isn't engaging with the basic point that this is a female person that you're referring to as a he. There is fundamentally an objective thing about this person that's being like concealed. I don't know, man. I mean, listen, if nothing else, it's funny listening to people attempt to have a conversation that apparently neither of them are equipped to have, so.
You can look like something, does it make you that thing? You can like present that way if you like, of course, but a big issue I see is when others are like forced or like pressured into referring to them by what they aren't.
Finish.
Oh, you still there, or did my phone cut off?
No, I'm still here. I'm just trying to cope with the fact that you compared people to stick bugs and sticks. Like, I don't think that that's a good comparison whatsoever. Like I said, you know, he looks like a guy, he acts like a guy, he talks like a guy, he responds to sir. His name is Buck, okay, which is a very masculine name, more masculine than mine, okay, and he uses the fucking men's restroom, and nobody questions it. Nobody questions it. Like, what's the problem? What's the disconnect? I don't understand.
Buck used the men's. I guess it makes sense.
This is not like a stick bug and a stick. It's nothing like that. This is a person being a type of person, but that you don't like because he was born with a vagina, I guess. Right?
Well, the connection there is it's mimicry, and that's why I made the analogy.
What do you mean?
Of this book. Yes.
Everything that we do is mimicry. That's what it is to be human. That's what it is to.
That's not true at all, but okay. Like, trans is mimicry, and I think that's fine. Bonusing his forehead. I'm making the screen look about as good as I can, to be quite honest with you. It's a bit of a mess. I don't normally do things like this, so.
To live, okay? You mimic.
It's because go on.
Like, that's what humans do. That's how we learn. That's how we behave. We mimic the behavior of others. That's why people of different cultures.
I mean, based in a way in that trans women, for example, are just kind of taking cues from what women do and taking that on themselves. But I mean, listen, I don't know. Are we getting to the point where it's like, well, they're still the sex they are. And if someone just sees sex and doesn't see any of the gender stuff, then it's like, well, yeah, then that's their prerogative, to be honest. And like, instead of treating it like a hate crime, it's like, well, if I don't like being called this, that, or the other, then maybe you're just not going to be best friends. Maybe it just doesn't matter that much. Like, oh, someone did something I consider rude, or maybe I'm just not going to like that person very much. I think I left the heating on and be right back. Like the stream, etc. Ooh, I did. I need to sort my chair out soon. It's loud as. Anyway. We're listening to a really, really scintillating conversation.
Have vastly different behaviors because, like in general, because they were raised differently. They mimic.
Well, that sound has to be coming from this game, by the way. I don't know what the fuck it is, but it's just there. It's just there, okay.
The behavior of things around them, okay? And trans people decided, oh, I like the feminine look and appearance and behavior. I'm gonna mimic that thing, just like cis girls did, okay? And if cis girls didn't do that, they'd be trans boys, right?
Well, I think the difference there is there's a difference. I think the difference there is it's different to say, hey, I enjoy how boys dress, I enjoy how boys act, so I'm going to mimic that style. But it's different to say, because I'm mimicking how boys act and dress, that I am now a boy. I think there's a difference there.
But what's the difference? What's actually the difference? Tell me. Make me care.
Yes, the difference would be that they weren't born male, and because they're not born male, they are therefore not a man. And
by born male,
born with the male chromosomes, testicles, etc. The male binary, basically the male versus female binary.
Male chromosomes, testicles, etc. Okay.
Yes, the male versus female binary.
How important is the etc. in this equation? Is it like very important that we should expand on that, or is it just like, a side note? Not something that we really need to discuss. I just want to make sure that we have our terms clear.
I don't know why we're like, where are we going with this?
No, that's fair. The etc. is just like a throwaway because it's me being like, the chromosomes or like the genitalia.
Okay.
He's talking about you know what male is? Like, come on, bro, you're a nurse. He's talking about male and female. Even if you think there's more than two sexes, you still think that male and female exist. And you are male, quite clearly. You're not something else. I don't know what we're doing here.
Etc. is just like the small things.
They're important. They're important enough to mention. So the other things that you categorized under etc., we're just gonna leave that aside, right?
Yes, that's fine.
It's important, but we're just gonna leave it aside for the purposes of this discussion. So genitalia and chromosomes. That's what we're working with.
Yes, because within being male, you produce like sperm. Within being female, you produce an egg. So it is like a binary. There isn't like a third way to reproduce.
All the time, every time, with no exception?
Yes.
Oh, that. You mean no. Jesus Christ. I actually hate this kind of shit. When you say, like, produces sperm or produces eggs, obviously there's the caveat that it's not all the time. I feel like making him recite all the stuff is like... But then maybe he's trying to catch Jib out, which unfortunately is what happened because Jib just said yes. Like, you hate to see it.
Produce an egg. So it is like a binary. There isn't like a third way to reproduce.
All the time.
Because this is not helpful. Like, you do know what he's talking about, and you knew what he was talking about all along, and getting all this like clarification stuff really is not necessary. You know what he's talking about. You can't just engage on the understanding that you both basically know what a male and a female are. What they mean is human reproduction is always binary, not that every human neatly fits. I think so. They're talking about like classifying male and female though. And he's saying, penis, etc.
Every time with no exception?
Yes.
So the trap there is, well, men can be infertile, women can be infertile. So it's not always producing gametes. Like, really, it's like you develop towards producing one or the other. And that has a huge implication on how your body develops because of the hormone that comes out of which genital, genitalia.
All the time, every time, with no exception. If you have XY chromosomes, you produce sperm, and if you have XX chromosomes, you produce eggs. Period. End of story. No discussion.
I mean, I don't know if there's anyone that can produce, like, hang on. Like, De La Chapelle, does De La Chapelle ever produce gametes? The thing is, though, with De La Chapelle syndrome, the second X, I think, just looks like an X. And it's shaped differently, but has the same stuff in it, basically, as a Y chromosome. Like, listen, I'm using Wikipedia. Wikipedia is a bit fucking cringe, but we're just doing it. Because, like, they would still produce sperm if they produce anything. So you get SRY positive XX males. Because my understanding is, like, De La Chapelle, it is just that one of your chromosomes looks like the other, rather than you have, you know, female chromosomes, or what are generally considered to be the female chromosomes. So like 80% has an SRY gene on one of the chromosomes. So yeah, it's got the same stuff in it. It just looks wrong. It's developed a bit differently. But it's not a female karyotype in the same way. It just looks like one, I'm pretty sure. But I don't know if any of them are ever fertile or not. And yeah, if they don't have an SRY thing, there's this going on and then something else going on in addition by the look of it. No treatment for infertility. So I think it is possible for an XX male who doesn't really have a female karyotype, it just looks like one, to produce sperm. What was the XY female? Was that Swire? Oh, it can also be androgen sensitivity. Someone with androgen sensitivity, I'm like 99% certain, cannot be fertile. I'm sure of it. I'm sure they wouldn't have... Because they don't have, like, ovaries, do they? Yeah, this seems pretty conclusive. So what about Swire syndrome? I think it's extremely rare. Yeah, so we are talking about tiny, tiny edge cases when we say, technically you probably could get a person with XY chromosomes that produces eggs, or XX chromosomes, even if they're really not the same thing, that can produce sperm. We are talking about, like, ones in many, many, many millions, surely, at that point. Because people with Swire, people with De La Chapelle are a small part of the population as it is. And then those that can actually produce gametes that are successful are, like, super fucking rare within that, by the look of it. Through hormone therapy to develop a uterus and implant the egg. Okay. So they're not even producing fuck. They're not even producing the gamete then, are they? I mean, this is like a rare case. Can maintain... Oh, specially tailored fertility program. Helped it grow until an egg could be placed. Yeah, so it's not even... They're not even producing it. This is saying they can't produce eggs. Yeah, in general, I think you probably can say, if you have XY chromosomes, you're going to produce sperm if you produce anything. If you have XX chromosomes, you're going to produce eggs if you're going to produce anything. Except in super rare cases with De La Chapelle, which isn't really the same thing anyway. It's not really like female chromosomes anyway. So yeah, there we go.
available for anything in between, correct?
Well, if you have a DSD, that could like complicate
Okay, so there are
things,
people
but
who
it
have
doesn't
those chromosomes
change
and do not
like your
develop
sex.
those sex characteristics, correct? There are people like that.
Yes, people have a DSD, a difference
sure.
in sexual
DSD,
development.
whatever. But you don't define then who's a man.
Yeah, I've never heard of anyone that can successfully either get pregnant or impregnate. I have seen the odd edge case that isn't like confirmed anywhere of like someone who's like a complete hermaphrodite who can produce either. But again, we're talking about like 2 or 3 out of billions. We're talking about the tiniest numbers of people. So like if the sex binary of male and female is only 99.999, God knows how many % accurate, then it's still a pretty fucking good model. And like if you have a more inclusive model that makes more sense to use to classify sex, then, you know, let's hear it. But stuff like bimodal, I think, just doesn't really work. I don't think sex is like clusters of properties. I think fundamentally it has to be like arranged around reproduction, because that's why it exists. That's why mammals are, you know, mammals are like, what's the word? Sexually dimorphic. You do have to bear in mind why it exists. And the thing is, if you're to say that breasts are a female secondary sex characteristic, is a man who's fat and has breasts, does he move along the bimodal scale? Is he now moving towards female? If you're a fat man and you have tits because you're fat, would you necessarily like being referred to as like part female because you have tits? I don't know that many men would. Or you have gynecomastia. You probably don't want people calling you a girl because of it, because you're not a girl. You just have something different about you. So I really don't like bimodal model, to be honest. Maybe it's more technically inclusive, but it's kind of useless, and it kind of doesn't really talk about like why it all exists in the first place. Yeah, Jib's doing the same thing I did. I just kind of stayed calm. To be honest, I probably did pretty fucking terribly the first time I spoke to Alec, and I think the second time I did better. And he was a lot more cordial and stuff. I just wish we didn't stay on bathrooms for like fucking most of the debate. He was asking like question after question after question. And I'm like, well, my stance on bathrooms isn't actually that rigid. I think it's somewhere in between. I think being 100% rigid probably isn't very useful and is unenforceable. But I think having no rules doesn't really work either. Like women just aren't always very comfortable having men in their spaces. Like you're on a period and stuff. You might not want men around and stuff. You know, women get stigmatized in that way.
And who's a woman off of whether they have sperm or eggs, right?
Well, it's because they would have developed as if they did if there wasn't like an issue with their development is the thing.
An issue? What do you mean an issue? Like they're flawed? Like what do you mean?
This is gay. Don't do this, man. What do you mean as if they're flawed? Like don't take offense, you know? Like there's no need. This is like derailing a conversation. Just have the conversation, man. Just have the conversation.
Like they're broken?
Well, what I mean is for not broken, but like let's say a male was born, right, and there's something that went wrong with his development where he couldn't have kids. He would still be male because he was still born within that binary where he would have if something didn't go wrong.
What do you mean would have?
In the same way that, you know...
What specifically went wrong? What do you mean would have if something didn't go wrong? What do you mean? What went wrong?
Well, I don't know the name of different DSDs, but... I don't know, let's say for example, one of their testicles didn't develop right.
Let me ask you this. What if this person doesn't want kids? Like they never want...
People are born on one track and they can be medically assisted in accomplishing the sex role they were born with, but that's it. Yeah, I agree with that. Ultimately, I think we just have to start fucking biting the bullet and accepting that, in general, yes, it's like 2 sexes. You develop one way or the other. I don't think obscuring all this kind of shit is even helpful to trans people, because most of us want to exist on the binary anyway. And to me, trans only makes sense when expressing someone who is one sex but wants to live as the other as much as you can. Wants to be known as the other sex, wants to present in a way that is culturally considered of the other sex, you know, take on like whatever gender roles and stuff, often feeling that they failed the ones that they were born with or whatever. Like that's the kind of thing that I think makes sense for trans to be. When we start obscuring what sex even means, to say that, well, maybe people aren't even the sex you think they are, like all of that is really quite fucking useless. I'm male, it's fine. There's two sexes. I'm male and I want to be female. I don't know why I feel that way, I just do, and I will present a certain way, and I've had my fucking bits changed around. I've taken hormones, I have breasts now, even though I'm not larger as you typically would expect a male to be if they have breasts. Like, that's really all there is to it, you know? And it's fine, it's fine. Like, if people accept their sex but still want to be what they want to be, and want to be known as female, I don't see a problem with that. That's not like delusional or anything, that's just who that person is, you know?
Wanted kids, it was never even in their brain. And honestly, they're kind of happy that they didn't have the ability to produce kids because they've never wanted that. Is it still wrong? It's,
let's say, for example, one of their testicles didn't develop right.
Let me ask you this. What if this person doesn't want kids? Like, they never wanted kids, it was never even in their brain. And honestly, they're kind of happy that they didn't have the ability to produce kids because they've never wanted that. Is it still wrong?
Well, there's still one sex or the other, fundamentally. How much importance you want to place on it personally is up to you, of course.
It's
well,
still
it's not
like
wrong in the moral.
But like the idea that then trans women are female somehow, it just doesn't work. And it's not worth entertaining.
Moral sense.
Well, not in the moral sense, but
it's
you
when I say wrong,
like wrong as in something's wrong, right? It's negative, it's bad.
Well, yeah.
You can agree on that.
When I say wrong,
okay.
When I say wrong, I mean that like.
Yeah, this is just making it harder when you start taking offense to certain words. I will say this about both sides. Sometimes one side will say a word, like let's say you're talking to Alec and he uses the word cis, and instead of just understanding what he means by the word cis, you start saying that you find it offensive and you don't think that word makes sense and shouldn't be used. I think that's just derailing. I think that's unhelpful. I think people should move towards just understanding what the other person's saying, even if it's not the most optimal word, or even if you have some kind of cultural difference where because you're gender critical, you would never use this word. You still know what it means. You know what I mean? I wish more people would cut through that shit and not worry about taking offense because someone said, oh, you had you have something wrong with you. It's like you want to say that I have something wrong with me because I have like mental health issues. I mean, yeah, sure, I have something wrong with that's fine. I don't give a fuck. It doesn't make me a worse person. I know what people mean when they say things. You know, I think more people need to see it that way, honestly. Oh, hi, Jib. I'm trying not to be harsh. Like, I think I'm criticizing Alec more than you, to be honest.
Like something within their development didn't go correctly, right? That's what I mean when I say wrong. So it's not like it's not a moral statement. It's like a biological problem.
But this hypothetical person doesn't want kids anyway. So I would say it went perfect.
Yeah, but even if that's the case, they have a DSD. It tends to have other effects on you, right? It's not just you can't have kids. Infertility is just part of it. And if you're just infertile, have nothing else wrong with you, then like, oh, sure, okay, whatever.
Perfectly, right?
Well, we wouldn't know if they wanted kids or not until they grew older, and people can change their mind.
But it turned out they didn't. So I'd say it worked out great. They can have sex with no condom on and it'd be fine.
But also, what if they get an STD, you fucking mong? No, being serious. Like, the other thing is people change their mind, though. You might feel like that now. Easy to be like, I don't want kids when I'm like 18. People change their mind about stuff. But all of this doesn't matter. Like, we're getting in the weeds about, like, I don't even know what. I don't even really know what we're talking about.
Right? It works out great for them. I mean, I mean, some people, that's the dream. Sure. Like, I would say it went very correctly then. Right?
Well, it's not I would say it worked out.
You know what's annoying? I bet when he hears this kind of silence, he thinks, shit, I actually really like got him on that one. When actually the silence there was, what the fuck do you even say to that, you know? Men don't ever think about that part. Yeah, fucking hell. He's sloshed. I'm really bad at telling. I've certainly seen him worse than this, but I haven't really been looking at his face. Maybe that's the tell.
It worked out for them, but they would still be male. Yeah. Because they were still born within that developmental pathway is the thing.
Okay, by what metric?
But if like something went wrong where they couldn't have kids, we wouldn't therefore say there's no.
For that would tell us that. What metric?
Get ready. 3, 2, 1.
Could you expand what you mean?
If you set somebody in front of me, this is the question I go back to. Just set a random person in front of me, right? What, and I can do any examinations, any tests that I want on this person. What am I looking for that would indicate to me whether they were born male or female? What specifically am I looking for?
Well, you could look at their chromosomes.
Okay, chromosomes.
Although you could also.
But surely to begin with, you'd look at their secondary characteristics and make a judgment before anything else, because you're not going to meet someone and immediately they have their clothes off. I mean, more than anything, if you're a fucking doctor, you have their fucking chart, because we do in fact record this kind of thing. But like, you're making excuses for Alec. It's okay, Ms. G. If you're allowed to fancy like complete retards, but I'm sorry. I'm being nice. Alec isn't a retard. He's just not doing very well here because he's getting hung up on all kinds of weird shit. But then that's kind of the point, is to like, it's kind of to frustrate and like make it difficult, I think. I think it just has to like grind out into a stalemate, and that's kind of usually where his debates go. Sorry, I was mean. If you're watching Alec, I'm sorry. I didn't mean that. What do you even say? No, like, well, yeah, you see what they look like. You see all this kind of shit. And then if you're doing a test, you might realize they're the other sex. I don't know, like, we're like, I don't even know where. I don't even know where we're at, to be quite honest. This went off the rails. I wish he was better motivated. I'm sorry, man. I don't think this is well motivated. I think this is just kind of trying to spin people's wheels into the dirt and then go nowhere. And then at least you didn't lose. You didn't win, but at least you didn't lose. I don't vibe with this kind of stuff. I still didn't. I liked his attitude much better when we spoke, but it was still a really fucking annoying conversation. I'm going to be real. It was still going down like crazy rabbit holes of hypotheticals and singular examples of people that are female but maybe shouldn't be in a bathroom. And it's like, I don't actually care about any of this, bro. I don't actually care that much. I think that things are going to be like fluid and like a little bit case by case depending. Like, you have the rule and then you have the exceptions to the rule that you deal with like as they come. And then with something like bathrooms, to an extent, people are going to do what they want anyway because it's not fucking enforced. Like, you know. Is he married? I believe so, yeah. Now, I'll say, I don't think he's a bad guy or anything. I still don't get what he's doing with all this like debating stuff. I still don't know what he thinks he's doing here. It's very kind of Vorshian still. It's very Vorshian. It's very, we are just grinding into the dirt slowly. And it's more about like who keeps stamina and who keeps rattling off new points and who kind of stops first. And it's just not, it's not for me, to be honest. Listen, a lot of internet debate sucks. And to be honest, he's not the worst. Like, you look at something like The Line, that shit is fucking appalling. You look at someone like Javan Bradley, he is like this, but like 1,000 times worse. Because he's like actually just a prick. Like, Javan Bradley is actually just a prick. And his thing seems to be, you get this kind of premise that he'll get you to accept or whatever. And then he'll go down all these rabbit holes where he tries to find you saying something that doesn't match what you said earlier. I saw him do that to that Lizica person. It felt really like disgusting, to be honest. I I do not like Javan Bradley. I think he's a fucking wanker. I think the best thing he can do for trans people is shut the fuck up about us. Just shut the fuck up about us. I don't care how many trans people affirm you. They're doing it because you're on their side. They just want to hear a transphobe get fucking fucked with or whatever. But that's all it is. It's like bullshit. Like, fuck Javan Bradley. I'll take 1,000 Alec Gunters over one fucking Javan Bradley any day. Because at least he's not like he doesn't seem to be like a bad dude or anything. Like, he's a fucking nurse. He can't be that bad, you know? He says some like fucking whacked out fucking shit. And this debate is going in a really weird fucking direction. And my debate went in a really fucking weird direction. But there is an amount of respect I can have for Alec. Compared to like The Line. Compared to fucking Javan Bradley. So many of those like TikTok debate bro types. It's like, it's the cringiest shit. I don't know why people fucking watch it, to be honest.
Well, you could look at their chromosomes.
Okay, chromosomes.
Although you could also see, like, if you're a doctor, and if you have like their consent, of course, like, there's the whole genitals like aspect of it too.
We're assuming I have their consent and the permission of whatever powers exist above me.
Right.
Secondary sex characteristics. If you feel like you need to be more sure, yeah, maybe you'd look at their genitals. Probably don't need to look at their chromosomes. That doesn't really matter. And if they have say 5 ARD where they're still technically male, but their testicles are internal, you probably know that ahead of time already. You probably, like, if you're the doctor or whatever, you know that already, you know. If you're just playing a guessing game, then I mean, it's like, well, why are you like with them in the first place? Like, what's even going on here? And yeah, you'll get the odd person wrong. That's fine. Doesn't matter.
Okay, so chromosomes, anything else?
Well, outside of chromosomes, like, well, do they develop like sperm, or do they develop like an egg? Because you still do like develop like one of those two ways, whether you're the one.
Do you know what? Sorry, I'm pausing a lot. Do you know what? Sometimes it's okay to just say, where are we going with this? Where are we going with this? Sometimes when someone's playing 20 questions with you, it's okay to just say, where are we going with this? What are we actually building towards here?
You produce a sperm, or you're the one who produces the egg.
So is it both the chromosomes and whether you produce sperm or egg? Or is it just one or the other? Or is one more important than the other? Like, what's the lineup look like here?
Usually I'll tend to go towards the like one who produces sperm or the egg, only because when it comes to chromosomes, there can be like abnormalities. But even within like abnormalities, people still develop within like the male binary or the female binary. So I usually will refer to like the egg versus sperm because it's a lot more direct. Because when it comes to like the chromosome topic, people will be like, well, what if I'm like XXX, or if I'm missing a chromosome? And then that becomes like its own topic.
Get ready. 3, 2, 1.
Okay. I'm trying
Which
to
would be like a male with a DSD or a female with like a DSD.
I just have not been sold on the importance of sex in social circumstances.
This is what he thinks. Let's put Alec in a fucking women's prison. Or, I don't know, let's just put any male offender of any kind in a women's prison and see if it matters then, you know?
Like, I'm not checking anybody's chromosomes before I refer to them as male. Okay, I don't need to see that. They just, if I've gotten it wrong before, and if I get it wrong, I'm corrected, and then I correct from sir to male. And I just feel like that's the normal response.
That's also because, like... Well, yes, that's because males will typically grow up...
I just ran some people over and I realized Job was watching. I'm so sorry. I didn't do that deliberately. What are we fucking saying here?
Just feel like that's the normal response.
Yeah, it doesn't matter in general. But when you say it's the normal response when you're corrected and you reevaluate and you see, okay, no, I was wrong. It wouldn't be the normal response if Alec corrected someone saying, no, I'm a woman. You should refer to me as she, her, or ma'am, or whatever. It wouldn't be the normal response then. What the normal response is here depends on what is being presented to them, you know?
Response.
That's also
Like,
because, like, well, yes, that's because males will typically grow up and look a certain way. Same thing with females, like just the way our like bodies look and the way our voices are. Like there is like a physical difference that we can normally tell. Again, unless someone's being ambiguous with like their presentation, or if they were born just
what do you
appearing
mean we
more
can
feminine
tell?
or appearing.
I'm sorry. Have you never confused a guy for a girl, or vice versa? Has that never happened to you? It's fine if it hasn't. I just I feel like it's happened to enough people. You can at least believe that it happens, right? Right?
Well, yes, but you can be wrong in assuming what that person is. And also I mentioned earlier on in this like conversation that I literally did in middle school. I assumed one of my young friends that was a boy was a girl because his voice had in like.
Listen, I'm going to defend Alec a bit now that I think about it. We definitely didn't really establish like what are we talking about here. We didn't really establish like here's the overall point I'm making super strongly. It's just like, should you call someone who's male a she in any circumstance or not? And it's like, well, yeah, sure, it's fine most of the time. You know, so to an extent, I do sympathize because I think it is a bit unclear what we're talking about. And I don't think he's helping, but I don't think it's entirely his fault at the same time. And his debate style definitely doesn't lend itself towards clarifying this kind of thing, I guess. But it's not I need to be clear that it's not just on him or anything, even though I'm criticizing him a lot more. Still wishing the US has less strict societal gender role stuff, but I can only dream. Yeah, I think I agree that that's something that is probably worth moving towards. And I think the same way in the UK. And to an extent, like, I think it is moving slowly in that direction. I think if you start moving back towards the trad stuff, then people are just going to start feeling fucking suppressed and shit again. And you don't really want that. So yeah, like, I don't know. I think I can relate to that.
He dropped yet. He was a lot shorter than me, longer hair.
And then he corrected you. And then you fixed your behavior. You started calling him as a guy, right? You didn't question it.
So the reason it worked and the reason it's normal behavior or whatever is because when corrected, Jib accepted that correction. But what if it was someone who either just did not resemble a man in any way, shape, or form, even if he still was one? Or what if it actually wasn't a man and they just said they were? But they didn't resemble one. And to Jib, they're not going to see them as a man, even though they've just been told that, you know? I think the example we're using is someone who, realistically, you might think they're one, but if they tell you the other, you can reevaluate and think that. It's a bit like if a super butch lesbian gets accosted in a women's toilet and a woman says, I don't think you should be here, I think you're a man. And then this lesbian, like, speaks back to them, oh no, I'm a woman or whatever. And you kind of look a bit closer and you hear the voice and stuff, you might reevaluate and realize that you were wrong. But it really depends on that, I think. So we're trying to use this as kind of an overall rule. This is what you should always do. But I don't think this is the case. I think it depends heavily, you know? Yeah, what if they're dodgy as fuck? Yeah. What if you run into some just obvious bloke in the toilet and he's like, no, I'm a woman, I should be in here. But it's like, well, no. Like, let's say you see his shadow, like, doing this. And you walk in and he's got his fucking cock in his hand. And he's like, no, I identify as a woman. And I was actually just trying to get the last of the pee out of my strangely shaped vagina. You know, you're probably going to be like, no, I'm not accepting that, you know? So I don't know. We like our kind of hard and fast rules here, I think. And to an extent, some like TERF types have the same problem. Generally, the answer is somewhere in the middle, I find.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so
that's because he was like, we were using the same it's because me and my friend were using like the same like idea of like what a boy is versus what a girl is, because this was before the idea of like self-identification getting like popular. At least where
What are
I
you
was from, it
talking
didn't get
about?
really popular until like high school, late
This
high school.
idea that like trans people started popping up in like the 2020s is ridiculous. Trans people have existed since forever. There's always been trans people.
Not really.
Like people just identify as the opposite gender of that which they were assigned at birth.
Almost there.
That's not what being trans is.
And if that was what your friend
Well,
felt,
I'm not saying that.
That's not what being trans is. I'm sorry. You can't just identify as the other sex and now you're trans. And if that's what trans means, then it's meaningless and we need to change the definition. Non-binary can mean this, sure. You just identify as something other than what you are. But like, this can't be the definition. This is extremely unsatisfying to plenty of us who don't just feel it's about calling ourselves something. It's also unsatisfying to someone like me who doesn't identify as anything, really. I don't identify as anything. I just kind of am what I am. And I am trans because I am male, but I present and live my life as much as I can as a female. I'm known as Mary, you know what I mean? That, to me, is what being trans is about. It's about the way I live my life and the way that I want to be known and shit like that. It's got fuck all to do with what I identify as. I don't identify as a woman because I'm male, but I'm still trans. I'm a male person who lives as much as they can as a female. And it's not that I know that I am something other than what I am. It's that I know that I'm not that thing, but I want to be that thing anyway. To me, that is what transness is. So that definition is actually exclusive of people like me. But how the fuck are you going to say I'm not trans? I had fucking surgery. Many trans women don't have fucking bottom surgery. I did. How are you going to say I'm not trans? You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't like this definition. I think his definition is cap. I think it's got to go. If you want to call non-binary identifying as something other than what you are, fine. That's fine. I can accept that if you identify as something other than you are, you're non-binary. But that's not trans. I don't think that can be what trans means.
trans people, like people just identify.
More than anything, the gender identity thing actually implies that there's delusion at play. Like, your gender identity is your internal belief of what you really are. That to me sounds like delusion. I don't believe that I'm female at all. And I'm not delusional. I'm trans, but I'm not delusional because I know what I am. So I don't know. I have a lot of problems with that line of logic, personally.
Identify as the opposite gender of that which they were assigned at birth.
And also, you're not assigned a gender at birth. You're assigned a sex at birth.
1, go!
And you're not assigned a sex at birth. You're observed a sex at birth. If you're assigned a sex at birth, it means that something was done. Some decision was made. But they don't make decisions. They just see what you have between your legs. And they are overwhelmingly likely to be correct. And if they're not correct, then you'll fucking find out at some point and it'll be dealt with, you know?
And if that was what your friend
Well,
felt,
I'm not saying that.
then that's what your friend would have said. But he didn't feel that way, at least at the time. Maybe he feels differently now. I don't know. Okay? But at least at the time, he didn't feel like he was a girl. He felt like he was a boy who looked like a girl. Which is also fine.
Well, it's not that trans people have never existed or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like, this idea of like self-identification hasn't really gotten popular until I want to say
popular?
maybe like 2011, 2012, and that's when it got like a lot
Like,
of
the thing is, now he's just getting impatient. Like, now it is approaching the kind of thing that my first conversation with him was doing. Like, it's kind of past the point, I think, where anything real is going to happen. It's just kind of crashing and burning at this point. Like, I don't know how much longer you end up talking. But like, I don't know. It feels like at this point, like, the debate is basically done.
bigger.
What do you mean this idea of self-identification got popular? What got popular specifically? What are people doing that they weren't doing before? And what is the consequence? Explain.
Well, what's gotten popular is this idea.
I mean, trans wasn't considered something you just identify as until fairly recently. It's existed in some form or another, but it's not necessarily about identifying. Certainly not purely. I think it maybe is part of it, I guess.
of
I think maybe he forgets how much things have actually changed around trans people. How many times the language has changed. How many times, you know, the mentality seems to have shifted and how it's dealt with and all this kind of stuff. It goes to the end of the stream. Fucking hell. I don't know if I'm going to last the whole time. I'm sorry. It was getting on a bit already. My girlfriend's out tonight. I don't really like going out clubbing, so I know. But yeah, Jesus Christ, man. It's still it's still ages to go.
if I appear feminine and if I enjoy feminine things, that makes me a woman. And same thing with men. Like if I appear and look masculine, that makes me a man. But normal, or like for a long while, like we would refer to like say, well, yes, but we use like different terms, and we didn't say that made you that thing. It was often like, oh, if a girl liked masculine things, that was like a tomboy, or if a male liked very feminine things, dress very feminine.
Tomboys have not gone away. They're still tomboys. They're still allowed to be tomboys. Nobody's saying they can't be. If that's what they want to be, they can be that.
Well, yes, no, they still.
That's fair to say, but if you start teaching like young kids that are more tomboyish, that all this gender identity stuff exists, it might lead them towards that when otherwise they wouldn't have. And don't really need to be like led towards that. Clubbing on a Sunday is mental. I mean, Charlie works in like retail. She works whenever her hours are. And like she goes to a gay bar and there's like a karaoke thing. So yeah.
They still exist. I think it's just less popular to be a tomboy, and it's less popular to be a femboy, because often nowadays,
what are you talking about?
It depends on like your friend group, right?
What do you mean less popular?
Well,
what are you talking? Popularity? I don't care how popular it is. What do you mean? If you want to be a tomboy, be a tomboy.
Popular, what I mean is,
it's not a matter of popularity. It's just a matter of how you identify yourself. And maybe it's popular, maybe it's not. If you're doing things because it's popular, then maybe you should stop doing that. I don't know, like. But I don't care about.
Well, here's what I mean when I say
being trans, by the way, has never been less popular, and yet here trans people sit. So I don't know what you mean. What's this popularity?
Well, here's what I mean when I say more.
Being trans has never been less popular. I'm going to assume he means something other than what like that sounded like he means. Like, no, it's never been more popular, Alec. There's like some kind of backlash against us, but I would have thought there's plenty of times in history where it's actually been far fucking harder being gender non-conforming, for sure.
More or less. Here's what I mean when I say more or less popular, right? For example, the word tomboy, it's still around, people still use it, but it's less popular. Less people recognize that terminology and phrasing. My younger coworkers in their 20s, not too many of them know what a tomboy is. I remember talking about tomboys once, like in the break room, and one of my coworkers was like, what the hell is a tomboy? And I told them what a tomboy was, and they said, oh, you mean like a bruh girl? And I'm like, what the hell is a bruh girl? And they're like, oh, that's a girl who likes more masculine things. But there's also people who might assume like, oh, well, if you like these more masculine things, maybe that you're trans. Maybe that's your trans.
I've been on a downward slope. Yeah, I can buy that it's kind of dying off a little. But to say it's never been less popular, it's just not true. It's just not true.
It's identity, and people can be. I don't know if I want to say pushed, but people can get leaned into being trans in some cases, because I could see somebody who's in a friend group, they're maybe more feminine, and maybe their friends might say, oh, well, I think you actually just have a female identity, and maybe you just haven't realized it yet. Same thing with a male, like, oh, you have a male identity, I don't think you've accepted.
Have you ever actually talked to a trans person?
Realized it yet? Oh, absolutely. Constantly.
Okay, I don't believe you.
I mean, that's fine.
The problem is, if he says me, he'll be like, I don't count, won't he?
It's fine if you don't believe me, but
you don't speak as somebody who understands the thought processes of somebody who is trans, or even stop to consider.
Alec, nor do you. That's the problem, mate. Nor do you. You speak like someone who's like hung around with like activist types and probably doesn't know many normal trans people. And if you do, you probably disregard them in favor of those activist types. I'm sorry, man.
consider their thought processes at all.
He sounds like he's been talking to more people that dispense like gender affirming care than he has actual trans people. And the kind of trans people that he's heard from are the ones that take on all that shit and internalize it. And they rattle off all the fucking shit. They rattle off all the, my gender identity is different from my sex, so now I am taking hormones in order to have gender euphoria, and it's like that kind of shit. I don't know, man.
Well, I don't think trans people all think and agree on the same thing. There's like different camps for trans people.
They're just as a shared experience, just as there is among black women or,
Dude, there's not that much of a shared experience. I'll be honest. If you're to say that someone like Firebat, for example, is trans, then sure, I can buy that's a trans woman, sure. I can buy that. I can categorize that person in that way. I don't see anything in common between us. And you can see when we talk, when we have our interview, when they're talking about all this kind of, all this like fetish stuff, all this like hypnotube stuff. And I'm like, I have no fucking idea what you're talking about. I would be careful saying that there is that much of a common experience with trans people. There's a culture around it, but that's not being trans. That's a certain culture that's sprung up largely on the internet. The kind of TRA stuff. That's a specific part. That's a specific subset of trans people. Some of us actually have almost nothing in common with those kinds of people. And people transition for so many different reasons and come from so many different backgrounds. I don't think there's actually that much of a shared experience, to be quite honest.
Black men or Asian women or, little people. Like there's a shared experience. We can agree on that, right?
Mate, think of it this way. Is there like that much of a shared experience between different like white men? Let's say that me and Alec are both white men. Do we have that much shared experience? Like we've both eaten food, we've both pumped blood through our bodies and stuff. I don't know, man.
Between all trans people, there's a shared experience?
I think there could be a shared experience, but they might interpret what that experience is. Like, for example, I can see more trans rights activists leaning trans people referring to, like, the identity, right? Like, I'm a woman because I have, like, this identity in this presentation, where a more gender critical leaning, like, trans person might say, well, I just wanted to feminize, I just wanted to look like a woman. I don't know what it was, but I wanted to appear this way. Same thing with somebody who might want to appear like a man. Like, they would recognize their sexes. They would recognize, okay, I'm male, I am a man. I just want to present and look a certain way. So there's different reasons as to why people might transition, is what I'm saying.
But why should I care why they do it? Who cares?
Almost there.
Let them do it.
Well, if you're going to say we all have a shared experience and then say, why do you care why someone's trans? Well, I don't know, man. I don't know. The point is that we're not like a monolith,
Well, I would...
Like, if you're going to understand different kinds of trans people, yeah, you probably should understand why someone does it. I mean, it might help you understand the person in general. It's a big part of most trans people's lives. So it's probably quite a big part of their life as to why they transition.
Say you should care because it's about accuracy. Don't you want to be like accurate?
Accuracy for what?
3, 2.
Well, accuracy as to what they are.
What do you mean what they are?
Like, are they actually a man, or are they
actually a man?
Woman who's presenting as a man?
Actually a man. What does that mean?
As in, are they born male? Are they born male who grew up?
What do you mean born male? What is that?
What Alec is doing at this point? Do you know what Alec is doing at this point? Let me show you what Alec is now doing at this point. Where was it? I don't really want to watch Density.
Sent me reason to do that. When
Why not?
You haven't demonstrated that you're
Okay,
right.
then leave.
No, wait a second. There, if you understand that you're an entertainer,
You haven't demonstrated you understand anything.
I wish to address.
You haven't demonstrated you wish to address anything.
I'm still here.
You haven't demonstrated you're here.
What is the point of this?
You haven't demonstrated you want me to answer what the point is.
What do you want me to
You
say?
haven't demonstrated you want me to answer what it is.
What do you want me to
You
say?
haven't demonstrated you want something from you.
I wish to break the.
You haven't demonstrated you wish to.
What do you wish for me
You
to
haven't
say?
demonstrated you wish for me to do anything.
Game I'm playing, what was it called? Super Woden Rally Edge. It's really fun, but I'm not good at it. I'm especially bad at it when I'm also watching stuff at the same time. It's really fun though. It's about a tenner. It's pretty good.
Again, this is a gross mischaracterization.
You haven't demonstrated it's a gross.
You don't need to be able to see it. All you need to be able to do is hear what he's doing. This is what Alec is doing at this point.
Mischaracterization.
Again, you will not break my resolve.
You haven't demonstrated I won't break.
Okay. Well, I guess we're going to continue then.
You haven't demonstrated we're going to continue.
Okay. So, infrared. I wish to discuss.
You haven't demonstrated you wish to discuss.
Would you like me to just keep
You haven't
talking?
demonstrated I want anything from you.
Okay. How about I ask you about something else? How about we just drop what we were talking about
You haven't
previously?
demonstrated you want me to ask about something else.
This goes on for fucking ages. This shit is like goated. But yeah, this is what Alec is doing at this point.
Actually, a man.
Woman who's well, are they actually a man, or are
What do
they
you mean
a
actually a man?
woman who's presenting
What do
as
you
a
mean
man?
actually a man? What does that mean?
As in, are they born male? Are they
What do you
born
mean
male
born male? What
who
does that
grew
mean?
up?
What do you mean born male? What does that mean?
Well, you know what I mean when I say born
No, I
male.
don't.
I don't know if I want to really play this game of. Well,
No, I
you,
don't.
you know what I mean. You're
No, I don't.
look.
Pretend I don't.
You're
Pretend I don't.
I'm a man. You know
Humor
what
me.
I mean.
Humor me.
What to call his argumentation? He is like completely run out of patience for you, to be honest. There is a small point to which, as much as I think he's being kind of a dick at this point, it hasn't been entirely clear what this argument is meant to be about the entire time. There hasn't been like a solid premise to work from. So I think it's all been a bit all over the place, if that makes sense. But he has just lost all patience. He doesn't care anymore, to be quite honest. I'm surprised he didn't just kind of end it.
Were they
do you mean?
born? Were they born male or were they born female?
Okay, what do you mean?
That's what
born male?
matters.
What do you mean born male?
Not like
What
this.
do you mean?
You know what I mean. I'm
No,
not
I
going.
don't. No,
Look,
I don't.
Gunter, I'm not going to pretend you're stupid. Okay.
Okay,
I'm not,
I just
I'm not going
this
to
won't progress
pretend that
any
you're
further
stupid. You
because I
know
don't
exactly
know
what
what
I
you mean.
mean.
No, I don't. No, I don't.
You do know what I mean.
no, I
you're
don't.
Pretending. You're pretending you don't.
Stop. Okay.
Yes, you do.
I know that you think you know everything,
Look,
but
I'll
you don't know
steelman.
what's
Look,
in
just
my head, and I don't.
steelman me. What do you think I mean? What do you
What
think
do
I mean?
think?
Steelman
Born
me.
with the
What
dick
do you
and
think
balls.
I mean?
Born with the dick
Yes.
and balls. Born with the dick and balls. Let's start there.
Okay, so that's what I mean. There you go. Dick and balls.
Okay, born with a dick and
you know,
balls.
XY chromosomes. You know what I mean. So,
XY. No, wait,
you know
wait,
what I mean.
wait.
So
Hold
I don't know why
on.
you're.
Hold on. I didn't
So
say
I don't know
anything
why
about.
you're acting like you don't know.
Hold on. I didn't say anything about chromosomes. You brought that up. So what do you mean? That's my question. I don't know
Almost
what you
there.
mean. Because you brought up chromosomes after confirming that it was dick and balls. Dick and balls is not the same thing as chromosomes, man. So what do you mean?
It's
When you say
because based
born
off of
male,
your
what do you mean?
chromosomes, you'll
What's your
develop-
criteria? What is your criteria?
Because
Male
based off of
equals-
your chromosomes, you'll
based off
develop
your
either
chromosomes.
as
So
male or develop
chromosomes,
as female.
not the anatomy, right? It's the chromosomes, right?
Yeah, but your chromosomes determine how
But-
you develop. Is the
What do you mean,
thing.
but? Is it chromosomes or not? Which is it? What are you talking about?
I don't know what you mean. I answered your question as clearly as
No,
I
you
can.
didn't. Okay,
I
I
really
said
did.
born with, okay. I said what I think you mean is born with dick and balls. That's what you mean by born male. You said yes. That's what I mean. And also the XY chromosomes. And I said,
Yes,
I never
because
said anything about chromosomes. So
your
let's back
chromosomes
up here.
determine
Let's
if-
back.
I'm an extremely good driver. It's just fucking lagging. It's just lag. There's too much going on at once. Hang on. Just give me 1 sec.
2, 1, go!
Back up, right?
But
Is it the
but
chromosomes?
you know what that meant. When you said dick and balls, you're already assuming
What do
that
you
they
mean
have
I
the
know?
chromosomes of a male. Otherwise,
Man.
why would you? Otherwise,
But you have okay.
yeah,
Here's
because
the
you know
problem.
what I mean. I don't know.
You know
You're
that, okay,
like
hold on.
pretending you don't.
Hold on.
And I don't know why you're doing
Hold
that.
on. You know that there are conditions where you can be born with XY chromosomes and female anatomy, right? It's called Swire syndrome. You know
Female, yeah, technically.
that exists, right?
Yeah, when you have a
Okay,
DSD.
so then when I ask you, what do you mean by born male? The chromosomes are kind of important to that part, right? And so is the external anatomy, because as you confirmed, dick and balls is a good assertion of a male. Because that's how doctors decide it usually. They see the dick and balls and say male, right? Right?
Yeah, that's what they say.
Okay. They don't do a
Here's the thing,
chromosome
right? Like,
test.
for
They just see the
example-
dick and balls and say male. So if they see a vagina, they're going to say
Because-
female most of the time, 9 out of 10 times, 99 out of 100. Even if that baby has Swire syndrome and actually has XY chromosomes. Because all the rest of their anatomy is female. And there's no way of knowing that until they hit puberty, and they usually have issues then. But, that's Swire syndrome.
Right, but then again, wouldn't that at that point be like an issue on, say, the doctor's part for not being able to like catch it early on?
But what's the issue?
So if somebody
What's
like
the actual problem? Catch what?
well, the problem again is like the accuracy. You
What
want
It's like so laggy. I can't even like restart any more times. Oh my god. I'm so sorry. He is being a bit of a debate pedophile. This is like, to be honest, I feel like this entire conversation has been fairly worthless. And it's kind of funny in a way, but I don't even know. I don't even know what I'm fucking listening to anymore, to be honest. I'm at that point. I'm at that point.
to be
Accuracy for
accurate,
what?
don't you?
I'm just mad that I keep crashing my car. I don't know what the fuck these people are talking about anymore.
It's that
For what? Accurate for what?
whether somebody is like a male or female, you want
Why?
accuracy.
Why? I don't look for accuracy in my
Because
everyday life,
I
whether
don't-
somebody's male or female. If there's
I
a
think
guy,
accuracy is important.
if somebody
I
is
think
in
accuracy
the,
is just
okay,
important.
if somebody is in the male restroom and they look like a woman, I'm not questioning it. I don't fucking care. I'm there to piss. Okay, I just don't give a fuck. So if they are in the men's
What if they were a registered sex offender, Alec, who did this shit to me?
restroom, I'm just going to assume that that's
Funny because the personalities. Yeah, I mean, listen, it's like, this is the same shit as like Destiny and stuff. I know we'd hate that kind of comparison, but it is like second generation, like Destiny clone kind of stuff. All of these people, Vorsh was their dad, and now Vorsh doesn't debate anymore because it turns out he actually fucking sucked at it. And really, he was just good at like wordplay and carrying stamina and just not yielding and stuff. And it's like an extension of that. And like I said, he's not the worst of them. Like, I've seen, like, I think internet debate is largely fucking dog shit. And, you know, the format just has a bit more potential than the kind of dumb shit that fucking Steve or Monty or whatever fucking doing. But it relies on people actually being able to like have a conversation. And that's not working here. These two people are just not compatible.
the restroom they prefer, and that's
Am I winning, son? Very much not. I came like 5th that time. But I have a amazing excuse, which is that the game keeps lagging. I really want to show my Robot Wars game. I really want to show my Robot Wars game that I like playing. But I can't pause and like watch stuff. And it's going to be very difficult even to just get it fucking working because it like you have to kind of stay on it. If you're going to play the game, you just play the fucking game. Otherwise, it just crashes constantly. So I don't know if it'll work to stream it. I do want to show it though, because it's really fun and like it's a really obscure game.
It's fine. For whatever reason, whether they're actually a man or whether they're a woman who just doesn't like the women's restroom for some reason, it doesn't fucking matter. It's not my business and I don't care. I'm there to pee. I'm there to pee and leave. And that person's there to pee and leave as well. And that's all I care about. What's the problem?
Well, the thing there is, like, if they need to use the restroom, they can use the restroom, but they really should use the restroom that's like accurate to what they are, rather than
What do you mean
intruding into
accurate
the
to
other
what they
person's
are?
other
What do you mean
restroom.
what they are?
Yeah,
Because
to be honest, I think this is cringe. I think this is cringe. Oh, you must use the bathroom that's accurate to what you are. I think it makes more sense to treat it as more gendered. But if you're a non-passing trans woman, yeah, you probably just use the fucking men's. Just use the men's. Like, come on, man. If you don't look like a woman, you're gonna make people uncomfortable. But I don't think it has to matter as a male in a female space, because sometimes you won't know. So it can be fine. I don't think being hardline on toilets is worthwhile.
you described chromosomes and you described external anatomy, but you can't really seem to, make the two go together, right? I mean, let me ask you this.
because
Let me
they're
ask you a
tied together
straightforward.
unless someone has a DSD.
Let me ask you a straightforward question. A person with Swyer syndrome, XY chromosomes, female anatomy. Is this and when I say that, I mean a vagina, a uterus, usually missing ovaries, but you can sometimes have half ovaries or one ovary or whatever. Okay, point is, everything about this person would tell you this person's a female. Their body's built like a typical female body. And yet, XY chromosomes, okay? So my question is, what do you categorize this person?
Okay, I wanna see if this game works like at all on stream, and then we'll probably stop soon because Jesus fucking Christ.
Person as male or female?
Well, I guess there I would ask like if that person like produces like sperm or not. Do they have like a sperm or an egg? Because if there's like an issue as far as like their anatomy is concerned,
They don't produce either. Neither.
if I remember right, when it comes to Squire, that syndrome, that's just a syndrome
it's
that only
showing up.
males have, right? Only males can have
What
that type
do-
of.
Dude. This game is amazing, but it's like really, really buggy. I have all these different robots that I've made and stuff, and you just like fight. You can just like fight like AI controlled bots and shit. Like this is the only particularly good one that I've made, but I have loads of them. It's gonna crash. It's gonna crash. There we go. There we go. I spend way too much time just fucking around with this game. Did anyone used to watch Robot Wars? I used to fucking love that shit. I still watch it now. Is it gonna load again? Is this gonna work? Is this gonna work? I really wanna show you my robot because I am a bit bored of this conversation, to be honest. Oh, there it is. All right, I'll try it one more time. Oh no! I don't want to be that one. I made a robot with a massive fucking swastika. That's the fucking weapon. I'm not a Nazi. I just wondered if I could or not, and it turns out you can. But no, I'll just show you this one because this one's actually quite good. And then we'll stop. It's gonna be silent. It's gonna be silent. Yeah, Craig Charles, fucking love that shit. It's a bit laggy, but it's working okay. I don't like this one very much because its weapons are better than mine. Yeah, this game's fucking awesome. I have the sound turned off though. I wish I'd turned it on before I did this. Like this one, it just has massive saws on the front, and it's like quite fast, which you kind of need. There's no point having like good weapons and shit if you're not maneuverable, because then you just get fucking twatted around. Yeah, this one has like electricity in the middle, so you push people onto it and it like fries their motors and shit. But I need to be careful because these hammers will like knock my saws off if I'm not careful. But you design them yourself. I can even show like the designer and stuff. 2 robot arms playing chess. That sounds pretty cool. You can probably get AI to play against itself and do all kinds of shit. Yeah, this is gonna time out soon. There's no point in me damaging myself. If he turns around, maybe. The camera sucks in this game, though. There we go. There we go. Fucking dead. What happens? What happens? I play this shitty video for a bit longer because I need noise.
Of syndrome, if I understand right.
What do you mean by only males? Because you're just subverting the question again. Because once again, my question is this person?
I'm asking for clarity.
Hold on. Is this person male or female? Which one? If either.
Well, if it's somebody with that syndrome, and from my understanding, if only males can have that syndrome, they would be male, even if they appear female.
That does not answer my question. I don't know how much more clear I can make this. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
You're asking if somebody with if the syndrome was called Squire syndrome, right?
A female.
Yeah. Okay. Only males can be born with that DSD, with that issue.
No.
So this person would be male. They would be a man.
By what metric?
Because only people,
By
only
what metric?
people
By
born
what
in the
metric?
under
By
the.
what metric is this person male? By what metric?
What do you mean?
You're asserting this person's male. Why? Substantiate that this person's male.
Are born because only males can be born with that issue.
Right.
What issue? Swire syndrome?
If I'm understanding it right. Yes.
Okay, why? What makes them male?
I'm not a doctor. I can't tell you why.
What do you mean I'm not a doctor? I can't tell you. This is so important to you. What makes them a male? Come on. What are you talking about?
Listen, deserved soy out. Alec,
Well,
Alec
you don't know the
earned this
difference
round.
between a man and a woman. I'm sorry. I thought that we were gender criticals here. I thought we knew what women were.
Yes.
Oh, what is a woman?
Yes,
I'm
people who are
asking, huh?
born male or born female. Yes.
Huh? DSD or what?
I don't know what. Yeah, people are born with like a DSD, or like people are born male. Or damn it, now I'm getting confused, getting thrown off.
Just hold on. What do you mean by born male? What's the criteria for being born male? Just start there. Can we start there?
Yes, being born within the male binary. You know, growing and developing as a male, having
answer the
male
question. Let me
testicles,
try this
XYZ.
again.
It really does.
Let me try this a different way. You place a person in front of me. This person, I can do any tests that I want. I can do whatever assessments that I want, what have you. How can I tell that this person is male or female? How can I tell?
You can.
Where's the kill a lot? You don't get house robots in this game. I need to make it bigger. You can probably barely fucking see. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. You can barely see what I'm doing. As if it matters. I'm just killing things. Just about killing things. There's no house robots though. Please still work. Please still work.
Check their you can check their DNA. That would probably be the easiest way to go about it.
So what do I find in the DNA that tells me whether this person is male or female? Just spell it out.
Whether they're XX or XY.
Okay, so XX and XY, that is your criteria, period, right? That's what we're going with.
Please don't say yes. Please don't say
Yes,
right?
but there are again cases where people can have
what do you mean,
a DSD.
but? What do you mean? Why are you complicating things?
Play the game.
What do you mean, but? But what? But what?
Because it is something that happens within like nature. You know, there are people who
What do you mean within
will
nature?
have like an
Everything
extra
happens within
chromosome.
nature. We're all a product
Yes.
of nature. What are you talking about? Everything happens within nature. The trans people are very natural. Okay, those. Do you know what I consider nature? What happens naturally is just when things kind of sort of fucking happen. That's what I consider natural. Okay, when something just kind of sort of fucking happens. And guess what? People being trans, That kind of just fucking happens. Like, they don't choose that life. They just were born
Yes,
with the wrong set of genitalia for how they feel up here.
That's really nonsense, to be honest, but okay.
That's it. That's all it is, and I just don't care what they're packing. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all unless I'm dating them, and even then, like, I don't know what's down there anyway. I don't know if they have a micro dick. I don't know if they have an enlarged clitoris. I don't know if they got a big hairy fucking mole. I don't know if they have 1 tit, 3 tits, whatever. It's not my business until they decide to reveal it to me. So I don't buy this. It just seems like a lot of trying to cover up for the fact that you trans people make you feel uncomfortable. I'm sorry.
Well,
I
no,
didn't want to go
that's
there.
reaching.
But that you can say it's reaching, but that's just what it feels like to me.
It is, because I talk to and I'm friends with plenty of like trans people. I'm just more inclined to be around like gender critical
the trans people
because they don't go based off of the ID.
The trans women who are your friends that aren't actually women, right? They're not like quote unquote real women, but they're your friends, and right? But they're not like real. They're like fake women. They're like they're mimickers. They're mimics. They're like those mimics from D&D, right? But they're your friends.
Well, it's because they recognize what they are is the thing. That's why I sort of like appreciate their gender critical leaning.
Well,
they recognize that they're.
What am I not recognizing?
They recognize that they're males presenting as females or want to live their lives as closely as they can as females, but they don't then say, because I live my life this way, I am this thing. Because there's like a distinction there. That's why I bring up mimicry.
I don't understand what you're talking about. Are they women or not?
No.
Do they identify as
they're
women?
presenting... Not all of them. Some of them do.
I can't see.
Some of them are fine with being referred to as male or man because they
There you go, look, I won the trophy. I'm barely even listening anymore, to be honest. Yeah, you make your own like robots. This game is fucking great. Don't worry about the names and stuff. Some of this shit is like old as shit. Yeah, you can like make your own robots and like there's different components and stuff. You put like motors and stuff, wheels. It's got these like massive as fuck like saws and you like turn them on and off. I love this game. It's fucking great. I downloaded like a mod for it though, because like the base like robots you fight against are really shit. Like it's like the easiest thing ever. So I downloaded this thing to make it more difficult. But I still win. I'm not going to show you the swastika bot because I'll get in trouble probably. I've got 2 of them. I've got like a middleweight one with just one massive swastika that like spins around and it attacks with, and I've got another one that like dual wields them. But it's not a reflection on what I think about anything. I just wanted to know if I could make a thing that attacks with a giant swastika. And it turns out I could. Anyway, this is going far off the rails. What happens at the end?
recognize that's what they...
Societally speaking, that's how we determine. We just assume. We assume that somebody's a man or a woman based off of those traits. And sometimes we get it wrong, and then we have to...
Listen, this conversation is a bit of a wash. These people just aren't compatible. There wasn't really much of a premise established, so there's some sympathy towards Alec, even if I don't really like the way he's conducting himself here. It sounds like he's kind of drunk and shit. It probably doesn't help. It is resembling a bit more the first time I spoke to him than the second time. But I don't know. The thing is, I'm just a lot better explaining this kind of shit. And I wouldn't say that Swire syndrome people are male. Like that's just fucking wrong.
Self-correct, right? That's...
So I'm just thinking for a second.
That's fine. I want it to be done soon. It's late.
No, that's fine. But yeah, I just don't think that presenting is the same thing as being. I just don't see the two as similar.
I think there are bigger issues you should concern yourself with. Don't you?
Possibly, but I mean that doesn't mean that this in itself is.
I mean, is it worth like just being straight up and honest and like, well, I'm treating this as like an intellectual exercise. And Alec does the same. He probably wouldn't say it like that. He'd probably be like, no, like it's about trans rights and stuff. But it is really just an intellectual exercise for both of you, being honest.
Isn't like an issue, or
I'm not offended by that. If fucking cisgender or whatever people want to use trans people as some kind of like intellectual exercise to fucking debate on, I don't give a fuck. I'd rather people did that than pretend that they're trying to do something to fucking stick up for my rights or something, honestly. Which I don't think is really these people's place a lot of the time. I think it can be, like, arguing with someone like Jib isn't like sticking up for trans rights. There are people that might call in that, yeah, I guess you are doing it if you're like sticking up for trans people or whatever. But for the most part, it's just like debate club shit, right? It's like debate bro fucking nonsense. It's like, it's basically just Destiny again, quite honestly.
topic to be explored.
It's trans people aren't hurting anybody. They're really not.
Well, it's not so much that they're like hurting people. Again, it's more so like an accuracy issue. Although, like, if you want to say like harm, and I use that very roughly, you could talk about like the sports topic where, you know, men are going in identifying as women and they're getting awards that women should be getting, not people who identify as women.
I really,
but that will be a whole nother topic, and I know that this is already dragging on a bit.
I don't care that much.
Listen, I'll be honest. It's very cowardly for a TRA type like Alec to say that I don't care about the sport thing. But I would rather these people, if they really do want to recuse themselves from that conversation, I would actually rather just say, I don't want to have that conversation because I don't care. I at least can respect that. Instead of trying to die on like the stupidest fucking hill ever, like so many fucking people do. No, males and females are exactly the same. There's this like meta study from Brazil that totally proves it, and it's like, well, no, it fucking doesn't. I read it. I can at least respect this more than anything else. I do think it's cowardly though. Surely he knows in his heart of heart there is an issue with like male people competing with women.
I'm sorry, like, I don't, you cannot convince me that somebody turned their whole fucking life upside down and took estrogen therapy for fucking 2 years or whatever, however long they did it, to identify as a woman so that they could get gold medals in women's sports. Like, it doesn't work like that. I just don't think that that's a real thing that happens.
Well, not
I mean, you can never put anything past anyone, but
for all of them, of course, but I do think a
Not for
lot of
any
men
of
can
them.
be very
Nobody does that.
competitive.
That's not real. That's a fantasy. Nobody's cheating.
Isn't that like reaching? Like, there's no way you could really know. And when it comes like that,
but this is the same thing as like fucking blood libel, practically. It's like the same thought process, like the trans conspiracy. Like, oh, are these people identifying as a minority group to fucking get one over on a different minority group? Like, no. It's the same fucking.
well, the thing when it comes to like this, when it comes to the sports topic, like, men can be very like competitive. Men can want to win like really badly. So I can see in some cases where that can be the reason why they transition. But there's also men who might want to.
No, okay. Name one person. Name one.
it's a bit fucking cringe. Like, it's possible. Never put anything past anyone, but I don't know anyone that I can say this person literally just transitioned to cheater sports. I do think it's cheating. I do think it's wrong. I do think there's just no good evidence that we can allow trans women to compete fairly, especially competitively, especially when it's like, well, when you take a male's peak performance, it probably is just fucking higher, even if they're on estrogen or whatever. So it probably just shouldn't be a fucking thing. And if some community sport, so all the women are okay with some trans person joining it, then fucking fine, whatever. Who gives a shit? But like, you know, I don't know of anyone that's honestly doing this. I would never go around saying that person literally just did it for that reason. Like, they think it's okay. I think it's more of a cultural thing. They think it's okay. They've been given some stupid idea in their fucking head that they can compete with girls and that all those girls should just be fine with it and there's no problem because they are exactly the same as them. It's like cultural, it's like dumb ideas that are put in people's heads, often young people, who to an extent don't know any better. So yeah, I don't know. I think yeah, this is a bit ridiculous what Jib is doing here. This conversation should have ended like fucking ages ago. And there should have been an actual premise. There should have been, this is kind of the specific thing about this whole thing that I want to focus on because this is what I think is important rather than, well, you know, it's for accuracy. It's very wishy-washy, you know. Like, if you don't want to call me a woman because it's not accurate, that's up to you. But like, it doesn't really matter a huge amount whether you call me a woman or a man for the most part.
One person. Name one.
I was talking to Jib, who is in my chat sometimes.
I don't know. I'm just saying like
don't
how
know?
that
What do you
thought
mean you don't
process can
know?
come about is what I'm saying.
What do you mean?
Well,
you
yeah, I don't know. But yeah,
It's like weirdly, like way too much, way too similar to like when we talk.
don't have the specific
You
examples.
don't
I'm just saying
know-
this is like
what do you
how
mean
the
you
thought
don't have
process
specific
can come
examples?
about.
But you should, right? I mean, it's such a problem. Surely there's one.
Well, yeah, he's like, that isn't the problem. The problem is just that males can't really compete fairly with females.
Just one.
Well, not. I mean, who's going to?
Look
The
it
thing
up
is, it's like
example.
who's
Google
going
it.
to admit it? You know.
Okay, if you don't remember off the top of your head, that's fine. Just Google it. I'm not testing you. I'm just like, I'm trying to see where this is a real problem because you're trying to convince me it is. And I'm asking for an example.
Well, it is a problem because males just have advantages over females in like loads of different ways. Doesn't mean that anyone's literally doing it for this reason. But that doesn't mean it's a good thing. You can't just say it's not a problem. You're a man and you don't participate in sport. And if you do, it's men's sports. So is it for you to say whether it's a problem or not?
Simple.
Well,
I think that's fair.
Now, what he's talking about is people that literally transition to female just in order to compete in women's sports and win. The two boxers at the Olympics were like people with DSDs. It's possible they literally thought they were like female. They were raised in like, you know, third world country. Well, I say that. I know at Taiwan, like Algeria, you know, someone's got like a DSD. They probably don't understand that kind of shit as much, you know. Yeah, like the men transitioning to compete as women and cheat just isn't the best way of framing it. It's just, well, you know, in terms of fairness, in terms of safety, especially when it's contact sports and stuff, it just doesn't really make any sense. And sport doesn't exist to verify people's gender identities. It's just, you know, when it comes to that kind of thing, it just is a non-starter. And another argument that I use is that politically it's just fucking terrible optics. It's just something that almost nobody is down with. And if he wants to not care about it and not participate in that conversation, that's fine. That's up to him. The problem is we've made kind of a more specific claim about people actually doing that, which I don't necessarily think is the case, but it doesn't fucking matter. It's wrong regardless. And there is not good evidence to say otherwise. And every time a study comes out that fucking retard fucking news outlets like them.us or Advocate hold up and say, oh, they proved once again that trans women are advantaged. When you actually read the study, it doesn't fucking prove anything.
Well, I'm just saying that that's one way the thought process can go about, because you and I
So
both
give me an
know like how
example.
competitive people. Look, I'm just saying this is like
You don't have one.
Yeah,
There are none, are there?
I'm just trying to tell you. It's because I'm
There are
telling you,
none.
it's a thought
Oh my
process.
God.
And what?
Well, we don't know of any. And it is true, no one's going to admit it for sure. You can't put it past anyone. That streamer that wants to be around girls. Yeah. Fucking April the Doe. Jesus Christ. That person was fucking crazy, man. I've never, like, gently, like, given my position on something and gotten someone, like, so fucking mad so quickly because of it. Also, there is not room for the two of us when it comes to trans dear people. Yeah, this person is batshit. I mean, it's very stock. Doesn't pass, wants to be known as something they're not. Doesn't have an ounce of woman about them. Will say all this like crazy shit like, well, you know, I want to be around women. It's like, do women want to be around you? Yeah, this person went fucking apeshit.
Sometime I would love to hear more about that.
I can't remember when it was. I don't want to show too much. I don't like jumping in people's chats. I just thought I'd say what's going on in my mind in comparison to what you think. And that it just is what it is. But it just didn't go that way. And then they start watching fucking Eden Riley and shit.
Sex-based discrimination. And if we can, if trans people lose the right to participate in gender-based categories in sport, then they can be discriminated against on in gender-based categories elsewhere.
That's fucking retarded. You absolutely do not need women's sports to allow trans women in order for them not to be able to potentially discriminate against trans people in other areas. They don't need that at all. Women's sports are not the last bastion before trans people cannot exist any longer. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
And that is not acceptable.
This person is stock over-radicalized. Someone put this idea in their head that they're a woman, or they came to this idea because they were unhappy and lonely and miserable or whatever fucking shit. Certainly shouldn't have happened.
I literally just talked about that.
But yeah, they're arguing with me and Mischief in YouTube chat, and you can't see it on here because it's just Twitch. So all the fucking Twitch losers, all fucking 3 of them, are like glazing this person.
About that. I talked about weight classes and differentiations and things like that.
But it's like most of their arguments, whenever I said something I disagreed with, they're like, oh, I don't give a fuck about that. It's like, okay.
I think Michael Phelps should get his medals taken away. He's genetically advantaged.
That's retarded.
I don't know, if you're saying that we need to be fair.
And the thing is, sport does need to be fair. It needs to be a level playing ground. In terms of like the rules and shit. There is still going to be people advantaged over other people. But the thing about sport is, you don't just have one big competition where only the good people get a look in. When you talk about like football and stuff, there are fucking leagues, you know what I mean? So people who are shit at it but still enjoy it and still want a competitive edge to it. Maybe you'll find some fun playing in like Sunday League or something. So like it's just ridiculous. There are certain rules to make it as fair as it can be. And then you let the people fucking do the sport and determine who's the best at it. It's like video games. When you play, I like playing TF2. When you play TF2, you're on a level playing field. No one has a specific advantage in terms of what they have access to in the game. They just all get the same stuff. And you go at it, and who's the best. That's where the fairness is. That's where the level playing field is. So if in the rules, it can be men and women together. It's like doubles. Doubles is not just any combination. It's one man and one woman. That kind of shit is for fairness. They have the rules for fairness, and then it's who's the best. But these people can't fucking compute that kind of shit. And none of them play sports anyway. This guy's fat as fuck. You don't fucking play sport. What are you talking about? I've done sport. And there's a level of fairness. And a level of who's the best. You don't make everyone the same unless it's like boxing and shit for fairness. Like, it's preposterous, man. I don't know where these people are coming from. I don't know who is putting these ideas in these people's heads, but they need fucking stopping. They need fucking changing. Anyway, I can't do this person anymore. We'll finish this Alec thing and I'll stop because it's getting really fucking late.
I'm trying to show you why some people might go.
Trans spectators and fans are harmed by trans people. Basically, I was in like representation. Okay, yeah. Nuts. I don't know. I didn't need trans representation. I just need to be okay with who I am and shit. That's all that matters.
Word in, man. Get your last word in. I'm good.
Like so pissy now.
I guess my last word would be, well, I guess I'll just say, thanks for having me on. Sure. I know you and I had our disagreements, but that's to be expected, so that's fine.
Was he drinking?
No hard feelings. It was good calling in and talking to you, and I hope you do have a good rest of your night.
Okay. You have a good night, man.
All right, peace.
Take it easy. I swear, like, transphobe logic, it never makes sense when you get right down to it. Never. Okay, you fucking people have had enough of me. Get out of here. Who's live?
Wait, so who does he associate with these days? He still talks like Surus and like Niara VT and shit, doesn't he? Dead Domain. Pretty dire. It's pretty dire, the kind of bread tube spear these days.
I'm very happy
Maybe it's
that
not a game.
I got to see my ex today. That always felt like something in my life that like I wish I had resolved better.
Oof, firebat moment.
Like what happened, you know, and where we're at, but man, it was a fucking rough breakup. So I'm glad I got to see her today. I'm glad she's doing well. I don't see anybody I want to raid. I'm dumping you guys without a raid. I'm being lazy. Sorry.
You know, I never raid people. I always forget it's a thing. I probably should, you know, show my support for other people. The only other thing is I don't like many streamers. It'd just be like fucking Chud or something. Let's be real. Chud, maybe Parry, not Queeman, because he starts way later than I do. I don't even know who else, so I don't know. I'm not too fussed about raiding. But then I never get raided by anyone else, so it's like, I don't know, man. You gotta play the game more. I just forget these things exist, though. I think Parry told me how to do it once, and I just got again. But yeah. I don't know, man. I have Twitch, yeah. There's almost no one that watches it, though, so there's not much point. Anyway. Oh, the toy box. He does crochet. He, like, makes things. Yeah, raid torrent. Fucking hell, dude. Anyway, I'm gonna stop now. I'm tired. Have a good night. Don't get like used to this, but if Charlie goes out and shit, then I don't mind doing the odd late thing. And maybe when she's like gone to bed early, but it'll be a bit earlier than what this is, to be honest. Yeah, have a good one. Bye.